Time for Type 40 Live, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show across your view screen here on Rumble, X, YouTube, and on Facebook. It's where we cover all things Doctor Who, from right the way back then to the right here and the right now, all in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions just like you. And we have some spoilers, not for Doctor Who, for something that people actually watch on BBC One. Meanwhile, there's a figure last seen skulking somewhere in the shadows, minding his tongue for a change. We'll see what he's got to say for himself. And there's a tip of the hat to one of the series' greatest allies in TV history, all coming up on The Big Who with Type 40 Live. And we're summer bunnies here again on the show as they've turned the temperature right the way up. It's hotter than Jackie Tyler's OnlyFans, everybody. But the spirit of summer is very much with us. And so we're off to the Carnival to see whatever we can see, the sights and the sounds and the monsters here in the 21st century with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. Welcome back. So yeah, out in the fresh air. This time we've taken the sunroof down of the TARDIS, and look what you find. Everything just sort of flocks to us, doesn't it? So we'll try and decipher what's going on here in a moment or two. I'm sure that some of you may know already. Okay, and whoever you are across Rumble, X, YouTube, or Facebook, we'll find out who you are in a few minutes. I don't doubt about that. We've got some comments already. Thank you, everybody, for being in, really, unless you've got us on your smartphone and you're out and about and enjoying the sun and all that stuff. Yeah. So I've got a panel to bring on. Panel. We've got lots of talking points too, and all the usual. We've got the ad break and lots of other things that you enjoy. I think you enjoy it just as much as I do. That's what I tell myself anyway. So yes, get commenting, get involved. Who's first to gather round the float? Yeah, that's what they call these, the float. They're actually the tops of flatbed trucks. Back in the 60s, I believe they were, Charlotte.
Well, yeah, you don't see as much of sort of, like I said, the carnival stuff now, do you?
No.
Which is a shame.
Unless it's like got a load of drag queens on it and those rainbow flags everywhere, you don't really see much of anything like that anymore.
Well, like I said, we still have the big carnival stuff, but it used to be more like the smaller, like Fates, wasn't it? And sort of the more country sort of setting where you'd get like the more handmade
people dressed as scarecrows and things like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
People selling jam.
Hello, everybody. Lovely to see a very busy chat as always.
Ah, yeah, chomping at the bit already. So yeah, working out what's going on here. Obviously, this is around 1965, I think. This was Shawcroft put this together for Doctor Who to take Doctor Who out into the suburbs by the looks of things. So I would imagine that plenty of women were scrubbing the front step. That as was the done thing back in the mid-60s, Charlotte.
Yeah, and making sure the milk bottles weren't everywhere, because that was the other thing. My parents always say, like down the street, you would see like pristine. They all have to look neat with the milk bottle and like the scrubbing, and now your flowers were.
Never mind what would the neighbours say if you got a dirty step. What would the Zarbi be like if they got on your milk bottle tops? I think they could play havoc.
They'd have fun with those, I think.
With your gold top, yeah. Okay. I think we could be going down a rabbit hole already. I know who is a trusty soul who could bring us out by our ankles. Gary Akers, you're up.
Wow, that's a tall order. I'll do my best. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I love any color pictures of the 60s. I just love.
Great, isn't it?
And I mean, I love the Web Planet too. I seriously do. Yeah, this must have been between the break between seasons 2 and 3, because you got a mechanoid in there, which was in the next to the last story of that season. So this must have been. I'm wondering, is that the actual console they loaned out for this parade, or did they actually go to the trouble?
Isn't it?
Did they go to the trouble of actually constructing another one?
I believe it was the actual screen used, as we'd call them now. Wow. And you can tell it's the British summertime, because look in the sky, it's as miserable as sin.
Yeah. Yeah, it has a
dressed in
little
full suit.
Yeah, the console has that little basket on the bottom of it, so that must be the original. I'd have been over the moon as a kid to see a parade like this.
Waving the little flag and
I
shouting,
really would have.
exterminate. In fact, where are the Daleks? There must have been a Dalek somewhere. There's a picture of a Dalek behind them, and there's one of the control bits and pieces from the Dalek master plan. I think I'm not brilliant on my Doctor Who 60s sets. Yes, you do have to be careful how you say that.
I wonder if the guy in the suit behind the Zarbi, is that supposed to be somebody from Planet of Giants? You know, one of the suit guys. That's like a deep dive for a float, but
he does sort of stand out, doesn't he? Next to a giant ant.
All these one-liners, all these wise guys. Luke, help us out, Luke Walters.
Well, I used to wrestle at fetes and fairs back in South Wales, so I cannot add anything to this. My attire was probably more extravagant or more obscene than a Zarbi, so I'm definitely more tight-fitting. I'll give you that.
Did you have a finishing move?
I did. This is people in my new,
we won't tell a soul. You can tell us.
People in my new job are trying to find out, because they're all big into wrestling, and they found out I used to wrestle, so now they're trying to find out. So I used to kick people in the head. Just put it that way. I was very much a Shawn Michaels, Sweet Chin Music kind of guy. Ricky Steamboat inspired as well. Deep arm drags, loads of chops off the top rope. So there we go.
So you can testify then that there are still floats that loop around the streets of small towns up and down Great Britain, if you know where to look, and with wrestlers and various other things going on.
Yeah, there's loads of different, like back in South Wales as well. They do it a lot of Christmas time now. They'll do it mainly, and they'll have Santa going around doing everything as well. So it's mostly now you'll just have like your fete for the day on a rugby pitch. But now the floats and stuff will just go Christmas, and Santa will be delivering presents to kids and stuff. So it's changed ever so slightly, but yeah, but we still do this type of stuff now and again. Not to this extent. Jeez.
Gary, you look mystified.
I'm just, you know what? I'm just looking at this picture. I'm trying to figure out where the that background with the geometric shapes and stuff in it, is that one of the control panels from the Dalek invasion of Earth in the Dalek?
I did know the answer to this because I've seen pictures of it, and I can't quite remember which one. I've got it into my head. It's from the Dalek Master Plan. Somebody out there on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, or X, they're bound to know. But this hasn't been colorized either. It's the original. It's an original color photograph that's just sort of been touched up a little in the nicest possible way, here and there.
No. Love to see these.
It's kept them really well, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
It has from the.
Can you imagine living in the apartment that window is, and just like sitting at your window watching this go by? That would be amazing.
Some guy's just done a night shift or something. He looks out the window. It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
What was I drinking on the sly last night?
Oh dear! I wonder if there was a Doctor Who viewer way back in the day. Because we are here to talk about Doctor Who, everybody. This is the Big Who with Type 40 live, as always. But we do like to go around the house a little bit and sort of catch up. I mean, guys, I have to say that earlier this week I did turn the air blue on a visit to the shops. I was met with this site, Christmas gear in the shops. This is at B&M Bargains, and they've got it all out already. So we're only midway through August, and there it is. Christmas sighted already.
Now, Dan, is this new, or is this the store just trying to get rid of last year's Christmas stock without anybody knowing?
No, this will be new. I've got a sister who works in retail, and she says every year, she swears they come in earlier, like the advent calendars and the chocolates. She said because they last for ages, they get them dead early.
Oh, okay.
See, I know that there's a pharmacy right across the street from me that has like a lot of shelves, like for candy and stuff and seasonal stuff, and the Halloween stuff's already there.
Well, there's a Halloween pop-up shop in my local shopping mall, Luke, and that's been there for a couple of weeks. But the Christmas stuff, now come on, they're taking the slash.
I love B&M with all of my heart. B&M is the best shop in the world. I absolutely love it. I was in B&M on Saturday. Went to get 2 new tables because they were £10 each, and they're fantastic. And my missus is a dab and building them, so it's great. She's waving, by the way. But yeah, I accidentally bought the 15 Dr. TARDIS and bought John Carver the new Dalek set. So there we go. Well,
You actually found them?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, to be fair, I owe John money, so I didn't buy them for him.
You paid in Daleks.
I paid him in Daleks, and he owed me change. But yeah. But I love B&M. What a shop!
Even though a lot of these Doctor Who sets are B&M exclusives, ironically, the last place I expect to find them, Gary, is actually in B&M. I've seen them everywhere else. I've seen them at car boot sales. I've seen them in charity shops. I never actually see any of them in my local B&Ms, funnily enough. Just
I'm really examining this picture, trying to figure out what I'd get, and I think I'd probably end up getting like one of everything.
Oh, you'd have to. It's amazing.
Oh, you've got Newbury fruits there. Look, Charlotte, would you go for that?
No, I'm a Cadbury girl, so like Cadbury's chocolate's usually my sort of Christmas thing to get.
Oh well, there it is. They have the Santas there for Cadbury.
That's your sort of your 4:30 burp, isn't it? A mixture of Newbury fruits and gravy. That's what I find. all in the mix. I may have mentioned a time or two, I worked for Cadbury's for years, so I worked on all the Christmas and Easter lines, and so I can tell you exactly what Pantone purple they've used there.
You know, and I just want to say best of luck to all the parents out there, because this is already up now, which means there's going to be 4 months of hounding by the kids to get all this chocolate.
Get it all in while you can. Get the pretzels on the go. Yeah, stockpile like a nuclear winter is coming. Never mind the Christmas period. Yes, so that's your first warning there that Christmas must be on the way. And if you want further proof that Christmas is probably could be closer than you think, it could be the fact that the BBC are plugging another season of its Saturday night stalwart, Strictly Come Dancing, with this. Not camp at all graphic there. So you've probably seen, as was heavily rumoured, it has been confirmed that Doctor Who star, this is how they're billing her, Doctor Who star Alex Kingston has been confirmed as one of the celebrities taking part in this new season of this show. I think it's been running about 20 years now, hasn't it? Alex Kingston's got a career that's lasted more than 4 decades herself. I think she started out on Grange Hill and various things like that. Years of success on American TV as a cast member of ER, I know, but I think to the majority of people, she's now best known as River Song, the Doctor's missus, depending on which episode you believe or not. And they're really going with the Doctor Who connection here on the socials, and not letting us down at all, reminding us of a time where River Song, the enigma of River Song, was hanging in the air. It seemed like it went on for years. But I did enjoy it all at the time, and I am delighted to see Alex Kingston sort of on telly and reveling in her association with Doctor Who. Any Strictly Come Dancing viewers on the panel?
No.
Not for years. I used to watch it.
Strictly Come Wrestling, that's where they're missing a trick, isn't it, Luke?
It's Dancing with the Stars over in America.
That I'd watch.
It's Dancing in the Stars over in America.
Yeah,
but they've also got a YouTuber on there, George Clarkey. So I'm going to start a campaign to get Dan Hadley on there for next year. If they're bringing on YouTubers, then
I think I need considerably more of what they term as clout to qualify. Can you imagine what it'd be like? There'd be broken toes and all sorts.
Can you imagine if they get Dan on Strictly Come Dancing and they ended up pairing him with Jodie? That would be colossally hilarious.
I'm not sure it works like that. That would be. It's a very nervous laughter that you're promoting in me.
No,
right now.
Do they like pair? I know over here of Dancing the Stars, unless I'm wrong, they pair teams up for the course of the whole season.
So you've got a professional dancer and then your celeb.
Okay.
And to be fair, considering the usual talent, when I glance, at least Alex is an actual actor. It's not just, here's somebody that was on Towie or Love Island for 10 minutes, and now let's have them. At least she's actually got a name recognition about her.
This is Eric Roberts, of course, who was on Dancing with the Stars. I think it was 2 years ago now. Had the time of his life. I wonder why. tough gig for Eric there.
I mean, I think from what I can hear,
fun.
I think they take the rehearsals very seriously. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think the actors
Yeah.
come in and just are, messing around and goofing off.
Well,
I think they're
in Britain, Gary, a couple of years ago, Amanda Abbington, the actress from Sherlock, you probably know her from. She played Dr. Watson's wife in that. Big actress in Britain, loads of comedy and drama and all sorts. She initiated a bit of a whistleblowing campaign on the Strictly Come Dancing show because of the intense regime that they put their dancers and their celebrities through. And there was a little bit of a fuss about it for quite a time, but it seems to have died down now.
Well, what do they expect? I mean, just to come on and think that they can go on like nationwide television without doing all the rehearsals and the practice?
Yeah, I was never quite sure how much sort of weight to put behind it, really, but it seems to have sort of dissipated, shall we say. It hasn't really gone anywhere. But the BBC press office is really leaning into the Doctor Who connection here with Alex Kingston. We know that Doctor dances. I mean, that's quite a deep cut now, 20 years ago. We know the Doctor dances, and now River Song will too. Alex Kingston is the third celebrity contestant heading for the Strictly Ballroom in 2025. I like to see people that I like having a good time. Alex Kingston's about 62 now, isn't she? So she's considered to be a sort of a veteran actress, I suppose. But it's all part of the fun, isn't it? It's not really my thing. Even on Christmas Day, if that's on and I'm in the room, I'll sort of vaguely pay attention to it if I have to. But I do sort of miss River Song now. It's been a few years, and I think all of this stuff, this brand is clearly very successful for the BBC internationally. So, attaching that to a Doctor Who star, even if it's somebody who hasn't been in it for the best part of 10 years, Charlotte, can't be a bad thing for Doctor Who. That might remind people why they liked it.
Whenever I've seen Alex do conventions, because she's been very kind to the fans ever since she was in the show. When she's left it, she's always done the fan events and the conventions, and she comes across as an absolutely lovely person and a little bit kooky, like sort of that mixture of an eccentric, but then if you met her, I think she'd give you all the time in the world if she could. So
It seems good fun.
So she'll probably absolutely like grab this by the horns and have really a good time with this. I think Alex, she's that kind of person. She comes across to me.
Who votes for the dancers? Is it the public that calls in to vote, or is it like a panel of judges?
It's a mixture, I believe.
Yeah, every week they have like a number attached to the couple, so you can either like text to keep them in or phone. And I think they do you can now do like an app thing as well. They have a few different ways.
Is that not how it works on Dancing with the Stars as well?
I honestly have never seen a single episode of Dancing with the Stars. But I mean, I'm sure since we basically ripped off the premise from you, obviously, the setup's probably the same here as well.
I think we even got some of the same judges. I think we used to anyway.
Yeah, Len Goodman, the late Len Goodman, he straddled the Atlantic. He had very long legs, though, if you remember, so he could do things like that.
And there might be another Doctor Who connection on there because Danny Dyer is also taking part this year.
The future Doctor.
Well, actually, his daughter also named Danny Dyer. But they got it's such a weird cast. It's Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Chris Robshaw is like, and Vicky Patterson, and then you got Alex Kingston. It's like that's a really weird cast. That's
I think if Danny Dyer is like one of the contestants, whoever calls in to vote should also message, "I want Danny Dyer as the Doctor."
Let's do it. Get it all sorted between us. But surprisingly, none of us know our cha-cha-chas from our rumbas here on the panel this time. But somebody in the live chat is bound to. Let's go and check out where they're at with all of this nonsense so far.
Oh, Dan.
It's my excuse for playing that one more time. You should see the winter one.
Oh, can't wait for that one.
Woohoo, says the Zero Room in in there almost before we were. Good to see you there, my friend, and lots more comments besides. Dan, are you beefing up your voice with compression? Is this how you give it that
What?
does he mean? What does it mean? No compression required, or any of those little blue pills. Don't do that either. So, but thanks for asking. Good to see you there, mate. We've got Crimply and Doubloon in the live chat with the customary ahoy shipmates. And lots of slapping on the back and ho, ho, ho's and all that kind of thing there. Rose Kirby is calling out to all human life forms and species. Good morning, afternoon, and evening from the planet Earth. Then hello to all caps. So she's very serious.
That's pretty much everybody.
Serious about including everybody off-world and on. Good to have you with us there, Rose. What's your opinion on the release of Doctor Who Season 13? Is it coming on the 30th of August? No. Clearly not. It'll be out when it's out, I suppose. We'll have a date soon, I think, but I've got no reason to believe it's going to be out that soon. More comments from the Zero Room. We've got Lord Thoth in the live chat too. Ever faithful moderator there with his wrench. Good to have you aboard, my friend. Thank you, as always. Domgo's joined us too there, Luke, with a fantastic new cartoon icon, unless I'm very much mistaken.
That's great.
It's very good. And
Nice.
Rose saying hello to all Earthlings and other beings and everyone. Apparently, there's a spaceship heading to Earth that's due in 116 days that could destroy us all. So who knows?
Thanks. What's
Who
for
knows?
that? Reckon we can
That's
catch a lift.
That's
Get
the
away
close.
from Mars.
That's the Close Encounter ship coming back.
Yeah. I love
Take
that.
me
I've
with
seen Close
you.
Encounters in years.
Or maybe
Yes.
we can see if they can direct it and pick certain people up and take them back.
Oh,
Then that might be a good idea.
As long as they don't take Tom here from TDOF Productions, because he'll be in the middle of making some model or another, and he can't be interrupted. So the next one he's making is a Cyberman from the Invasion. Oh, great choice! My favourite Cybermen design, that is. Let's go! Happy anniversary, says Lord Thoth. Thank you. Who's anybody got an anniversary today? It's always
Doctor Who
anniversary for
fans will, Doctor Who fans will always find an anniversary for something. So
yes, indeed. Stephen Braddock's in the live chat too, with hellos all round for everyone. And we have Peter Harrington as well. Darren M's joined us. Hail and howdy, folks, says Darren. And who am I to argue with that, Charlotte? Hails all round.
Definitely not with a face like that.
Giving it some max headroom there from back in the day. It's nearly tune time. Well, we've got more comments than I thought. Excellent stuff. Garbage has joined us too. Hail chat. Hail to you too, Garbage. And lots more people sort of piling in too. This is excellent stuff. We have, hi everyone. Another warm day again. You'd noticed too. So not quite as bad as yesterday. My God, that
You
was a
tried to
bastard.
record yesterday. It's all I'll say.
Yeah, it was like a bleeding oven in there.
starry-eyed girl
Really? Wow.
were just like melting like no tomorrow yesterday.
Oh, dear,
was
oh dear.
awful.
That's-
I like the rain.
Spoken like a true Welshman. I love it.
I like to. It rained today actually, so it was quite nice for a weird 5
We
minutes.
didn't hear.
Oh well, good for you.
Didn't get a single spot. I went out attempting to catch it as well. So we've got Tom says, hi, Dan. I hope you're up for a bit of cyber action. Well, it depends on what
Whoa.
they mean by action. Quite frankly, none of the rough stuff. Oh, dear. Check my Tinder profile for my lines about that. Great to see everyone, says Lord Thoth. Duncan, the Funky Evans, Funky himself, says, if Jackie had an OnlyFans, it would be dangerous. You could be right. Yeah. Could be right. Cheers, y'all, says Cliff Maxwell. Good to have you with us too, Cliff. And Paul Richards is in as well, which is Shockeye Icon. Shockeye is one of my favourite 1980s Doctor Who characters, despite the, let's be honest, really quite atrocious performance of John Stratton in that role. I have to look up, see a picture of him, and I can hear the characterization, Gary, you know?
It's been, I can't even tell you how long it's been since I've seen The Two Doctors.
Oh, we've got to fix that.
I'll have to watch it again.
We've been meaning to do an anniversary sort of special around the Two Doctors now for, I think, about 6 months. So that's going to have to happen. I think Sarah's been pushing for that for a
It
while.
is 85, yeah, 40th. Yeah. Okay.
Dongo suggests you wouldn't want to find a Zarbi on your front step. Well, you certainly wouldn't be able to get out of the house, would you? Because they're quite broad and long. So you'd have to go around the back to go nip out and do your shopping, unless you were flanked by two Zarbi. Yeah, terrible. What else is here? What else and who else? I don't think they could afford to make another one that looks that good, said the Zero. Now, I think he's talking about the TARDIS console there that was on the
Probably
back.
so. Yeah.
Threw everything at that, didn't they? It was.
I'm just struck by the fact that they would loan it out for something like that. Because if it gets damaged or something happens to it on this parade, what are they going to do? That's why I was wondering if it was a replica.
Back then, someday.
Yeah.
Foresight from the BBC.
Yeah, never.
Nothing's changed in the last 60 years. Going to take a TARDIS-sized can of Raid to take out that one, suggests Lord Fluff. You could be right. And Funky says, I hope the guy in the hat in the picture is called Adam. Then it would be the earliest appearance of Adam and the Ants. If you reckon you can top that with the dad jokes, you're welcome to try. Yeah, Type 40 Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who. Yes, those windows need painting, suggests Garbage. You're quite right. Spent too much time scrubbing the step, haven't they? They've missed the windows. That's the problem. Okay, so I think that's a nice summary of what's going on in the live chat, the what's and the who's. We need lots more of that because we've got lots to bring out and chat about with you, I'm happy to say. Cinescope Pictures in the live chat. Oh, that's you. Boasting about his wins there at B&M. Rub it in. That's it, Luke. Rub it in. And we've got a good evening, folks, from Richard Brooks. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, everybody that's with us so far. We've got a lot of ground to cover and a couple of respects to pay as well. And heaven knows what else between now and when we wrap up the show. So stay tuned, everybody. Not just for all of that, but there's going to be a lot more of this. Yes, and I've just realised I played completely the wrong stinger because I wanted to lead you from that into this because it ties in very nicely. Well, it would have done if I'd have used the correct one. So, yeah, Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion is on the way. Philip Roy and all his various colleagues are beavering away now, editing it into shape. We've all been following this for nearly 2 years now, I think, since we first got talking to Phil and heard all about his project. Here over on the podcast, and Phil, he's sometimes in the live chat, chipping in and teasing us some more. We were lucky enough to have a bit of a preview of what's going on there at Scorpion HQ, whatever they're calling it, wherever they are in some dugout somewhere. And they've recently published this brand new picture. Check it out. So this is Phil and Mandy, the Doctor and Jenny, Team TARDIS for Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion in this brand new image. And unless I'm not mistaken, that's a new tie that Phil's sporting there. Anybody seen this?
No,
not this one.
Following the project?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. Did you know Phil actually played Sylvester McCoy in the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who?
He doesn't like to talk about it.
he really
Doesn't mention it.
Never bring it up.
Never mentioned it. But no, yeah, I've seen him. I actually worked with Phil on a B movie horror. It's the first time I met Phil. I think it was called The Curse of Halloween Jack or The Legend of Halloween Jack years and years ago. You could search it out and you could see him getting killed in a bathtub. Yeah.
Well, you haven't lived until you see that.
You haven't. By a big old jack-o'-lantern.
So you do that to Phil? I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, so keep following the socials for more of these brand new images and any more teasers that could be on the way for Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. No release date as yet, but the best things in life are worth waiting for, I think, Charlotte.
Oh yeah, and with fan stuff, I'm always of the opinion you release it when it's ready, and that's the sort of the luxury of it. You can just keep working at it.
Yeah.
And this is all I said before. A lot of fan stuff is either audio now, or if they can do bits of animation. So to have something this live action, properly filmed with effects and everything, it looks like it's just so impressive what they've managed to achieve.
They'll release it when it's ready. And speaking of which, we sometimes release a panelist only when they're ready to. I'm happy to say that joining us from the other side of the world, a little later than usual, but the best things are worth waiting for, aren't they, Matt Pott?
They are. Hi.
Hello, Matt.
Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Not so bad, mate. Well, you've missed the Strictly Come Dancing piece. You'll be devastated to learn.
I mean, we can go back. We can restart this entire stream.
No, I'm fine, thanks.
We're going to bring you up to speed on some of the good stuff. You've missed Verada Sato as well. She's been in. She's back. She's back here, and she's brought a friend.
Oh my God.
I do love it when you see the stars of Doctor Who. When they've left, they do start being gifted all these little things, don't they? And I saw Millie Gibson with that the custom Lego about 18 months ago, and she was thrilled, wasn't she, when she was presented with her own sort of Ruby Sunday Lego. And here's Verada Sato with what looks like a crocheted Belinda in her outfit that was from Lux, I think, wasn't it, Gary? Unless you've blocked that one out.
I was going to say, I didn't even know that. I was like, what's she holding? But I guess that is, I have blocked it almost all out. You're right. Now that you said it, it is Lux, I think.
And we'll be reminding you later on a little bit more of the 2025 season of Doctor Who.
Some people in the chat actually thought that was Shooty that she was holding up, but I guess it is her.
I won't put it past him. Yes, so lots more to talk about, I'm happy to say. Before I do that, I've got to remind you about the Type 40 Doctor Who podcast. The very latest episode dropped a few days ago. That was for Doctor Who Podcast Day, the 3rd annual Doctor Who Podcast Day. I was lucky enough to get a couple of hours speaking to Ken Deep, one of the original Doctor Who podcasters there. He came in for a long chat about, it was supposed to be about podcasting and Doctor Who and where we're at. Turned out to be about pretty much anything and everything, whilst myself and Ken compared and contrasted outtakes on where Doctor Who is now, where the fandom's at, and content creation too. So it was very much a meeting of two, polar opposites in many respects, but with mutual respect and lots of laughs too. So go and check that out across all major podcatchers. And as ever, there's the enhanced video edition here on the Type 40 YouTube and Rumble channels. But this is Type 40 Live on Rumble X, YouTube and Facebook, joined by a sea of our friends there in the live chat, dropping comments and truth bombs. I suspect there's lots more of that on the way as well. But before we get stuck into that, there's a few other bits and pieces to take care of.
Now, all the time this piece has fallen apart. And the only way to fix that and to help is to watch Type 40. Now, excuse me, I'm off to save Whoniverse.
Hello. It's going well, isn't it? Yes, so that was the 6th Doctor, of course, as befits our Starscape behind us. I know that Cheryl's in the live chat, another 6th Doctor enthusiast, and we've got Shockeye himself joining us as well. It's back to the 80s now for me in many respects, while we pay tribute to a couple of people involved in Doctor Who to various degrees in times past. I mean, first of all, I want to give a nod to the late Biddy Baxter. So this news broke at the start of the week. I don't know if anybody saw this. And again, the name Biddy Baxter, I think that now in 2025, it could be a name that people have heard, not really sure who she was and what she'd done. But she was a legend of British television, in some ways a kind of visionary. She's passed away at the age of 92. She got an MBE, mainly for her services to children's television as the producer and content editor of Blue Peter from 1962 all the way up to 1988. So she was the creative head of the program, that perennial children's program. And obviously it straddled most of the lifespan of the classic series of Doctor Who. And it was Biddy Baxter, even though that she wasn't on Blue Peter from the start, it was her that very much believed in establishing and keeping a relationship between Blue Peter and Doctor Who that absolutely worked out, I feel, in Doctor Who's favour throughout those 2 decades. And because of the crossover of audience, I suppose, Charlotte. Of course, Blue Peter's still running now. I think it's sort of done online. It's not even live. So it's a very different animal now. But when I was a kid, it was such a quaint show, such a charming show, such a fun show that you never really knew what was going to happen in it, considering that it was on children's TV at a tea time. And what did keep me watching, sort of scanning which items are going to be on, was just the vague chance that Doctor Who would be featured.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, they still had a lot of kids programming still on the BBC. Like now, it's such a shame that they are basically stripping it all back and doing like bare sort of minimum what they can do. But like I said, when I was growing up, it was still quite a big part. And even then, they still had that Doctor Who association. You still would have Tennant, I can remember multiple times appearing when he was the Doctor.
That's right.
You'd get Eccleston even. He did a couple of Blue Peter sort of appearances.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot. That when it came back, it still had that link. And it's like you said, it's because Biddy had established that in the classic run, that they were sort of seen as sort of having this sort of, because they were both kids and they were BBC, and I think they both had that idea of kids want their own sort of space and their own shows. They sort of complemented each other brilliantly, and her legacy, like I said, clearly carried on, because when I was watching it, it was still part of the show Doctor Who very clearly.
Growing up in the 60s, the 70s and the 80s, obviously 3 channels most of the time, eventually a 4th channel for a little while. Children weren't served masses, hours and hours of content every day, Luke. You'd got that sort of 2-hour block there to sort of where they cram everything in when you got back from school. And Blue Peter was sort of unmovable. It was originally on Mondays and Thursdays. Then they sort of, I think they put it to 3 times a week, something like that. But the general pattern had sort of remained from the 1960s. And Biddy Baxter, she was very much a contemporary of Verity Lambert. Here she is at BBC Television Centre. So again, she worked her way up after being told that she could go to secretarial school or maybe go into teaching. You know, she really wanted to join the BBC. She joined them through the radio division, creating sound effects and things like that, but then moved over to producing for schools, the junior English programs, and Listen with Mother, and all those kind of special children's programming slots there that they'd had, I think, on the network, on the original BBC radio network, pretty much since it had been established. So she was a kind of a new broom, an exciting, modern figure for the 1960s in exactly the same way that Verity Lambert was.
Yeah, isn't she credited as well with being the one that managed to archive and keep the regeneration from Bill into Patrick? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think so. I think it was her that managed to save
it was
a little bit. Yeah. So
it was.
Well, they were certainly a lot better at keeping resources, material when it came to Blue Peter than they were for Doctor Who. As I understand it, there's not many missing episodes of Blue Peter from the archives. You know, the way that there is.
I think she had a remit that they were all to be kept. That was her remit.
Solid. Yeah, makes sense.
That was her. Because they did a documentary on Doctor Who and Blue Peter a long time ago on one of the DVDs, and I do remember her talking about that and just saying, you know, it's for educational purposes.
There was children's programs up to then, but she was the person who sort of brought in the idea of including animals and recipes and charity appeals and all of those things that would become key features, I suppose, of Blue Peter, that when you mention Blue Peter to people, they tend to immediately reel off a list of all of these things. The sticky back plastic. Here's one I made earlier. We've got all of that stuff there in the live chat. So it was all. It became. I wouldn't say it was a cult as such, but the familiarity of it just meant that the couple of generations of kids who grew up watching it in the 20th century, parents felt very confident in putting their kids down in front of the TV with Blue Peter. And yet, here's just some of the Doctor Who items that were featured over the years.
Wow.
There's Patrick Troughton with Valerie Singleton, John Noakes, and Peter Purvis. There's Stephen Taylor himself judging the Designer Monster for Doctor Who competition from the mid-60s. Of course, they did this several times on Blue Peter, most notoriously in 2006,
cool.
Charlotte.
I think that's the one I must have put a monster design for. I probably
No, they did another one, didn't they?
Oh, you submitted the design, did you, Charlotte?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
You would have
Did
been a tadpole, wouldn't you? There was that later one. They did a couple, didn't they?
Oh,
They
and
did that
maybe it
one.
was the later one, but yeah, I remember I
Yeah.
did like some sort of dragon.
You're a bit
thing.
young, Charlotte.
Didn't the design of the quarks come from this? From like a competition? Or am I misremembering?
I don't think so, but
No.
they were really quite similar. Doctor Who items carried all the way through the 1970s, and they even filmed, broadcast an entire live episode of Blue Peter from the Doctor's laboratory set, as seen in the Three Doctors.
Wow.
Whatever. I think it was due to industrial action, or they'd found asbestos in the actual main studio or something like that. So they were able to use the Doctor Who sets, which again adds to that sort of cozy feel. And here's John Noakes and Peter Purvis again with another Zarbi. And just look on Peter Purvis's face as if to say, I just can't get away from this frigging show, can I? There's the TARDIS console room as well.
We never had anything comparable to this. I mean, there are shows that are targeted for like super young, like preschool shows like Romper Room and Sesame Street's not for this age group, but we never had this kind of long-lasting show that was targeting probably the same age group that this did. I mean, I would have watched this all over the place if we would have had it.
We got a lot of educational shows from Britain, but Blue Peter we never ever got. So it was only ever Play School, and when I think the mainland had Romper Room, and that was it.
Here's Janet Ellis, of course, cast member of Doctor Who. She was in the Horns of Nymon.
Nice daughter too.
For several years, a Blue Peter presenter, and this was from an edition broadcast in 1986. Not from any kind of missing story where she got sort of swept away. Be an idea for a Big Finish box set. There, bearded Sixth Doctor. This was all part of the fun. All these appearances all happened in between the actual stories. Cliff Maxwell reminds us of the Absorbalov in 2006. Yeah, that was the last time they did the Designer Monster question. Blue Peter was aimed at older, boring kids, accuses Domgo. We won't hear a word of that, Domgo.
He's just trying to stir up trouble.
It was a very sensible show in many respects, but occasionally, that's why when things did go wrong, it was even funnier. And I think Biddy Baxter tried to run a tight ship. I mean, she had a reputation as being a really formidable figure in the TV industry, running a tight ship, quite literally the Blue Peter ship. And you can see, well, maybe she had to be because of the nature of the programming to that demographic. I think she took her responsibilities very, very seriously. She also pioneered, of course, the Blue Peter badge. Now, even I wanted one of these. Sophie Aldred's got two. I can't remember the story behind this. I think they were Sophie's own, or at least one of them was, that were pinned to her bomber jacket. So, as created by the late Biddy Baxter, icons of their own. Anybody here with a Blue Peter badge? Luke, you seem like a guy who might have a Blue Peter badge somewhere.
My uncle's got a Blue Peter badge.
What do you know what for?
Do we know?
And my girlfriend has a Blue Peter badge, which I did not know about until now, that she's pointed and says she has one. Elle, what's yours for? Okay, so my girlfriend got one because she sent in a card because one of them was leaving, and my uncle got one because he did because obviously we do karate in the family. All of us do karate, and every January all the kayak fishing groups meet up and they go to Brecon Beacons and they go and they train underneath the waterfall and then dive into the waterfall. So Blue Peter turned up, filmed it, and then they all got Blue Peter badges. So there you go.
Oh. Can I ask a basic question? Why was the show called Blue Peter?
Because he had bag circulation problems. I don't know.
No, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, that's such an interesting name for a show, but there's got to be a reason for it. I just never.
I've never
As I
known
understand it, it's something to do with naval life, with seafaring. So the logo of the ship, as featured on the badge, is a ship, and so they would play. I can't remember the name of the piece of music that's always been the theme tune. The theme tune's not actually called the Blue Peter, but I think it's something to do with naval flags. Somebody in the live chat's bound to know there on
Interesting.
Yeah,
YouTube,
because
Rumble,
the theme
Facebook,
tune
or
is
X.
the theme tune is very sailor. Like it sounds like sort of an old sea shanty sort of thing, like that vibe.
They tried to jazz it up several times. Like they dropped a sort of a rap track over it for a while. There's a drum and bass version. We've had all sorts, but it tends to sort of reset every now and again and go quite sort of back to basics. For the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, there was a special Blue Peter badge to mark that.
I think they had
about 10.
Didn't they have an issue with counterfeit badges as well? Like
Probably. They probably do. I mean, I would imagine that eBay is probably full of Blue Peter badges now. Somebody's bound to know.
Was it like a special thing to win a badge?
Yeah, very special. Yes, competition winners, and just as Luke said, his partner sent in a card or something like that. It was the very first sort of interactive TV show. I think there was something like that on the radio as part of the Muffin the Mule fan club on Watch with Mother, whereby you could get a membership card or something like that. But of course, you can't. There was something you put in your purse or your wallet when you were a child. A Blue Peter badge was a very coveted item.
Okay.
Tanindra Singh says, I don't know if you have a Blue Peter badge, whether you can still get into London's museums free. That was the perk, standing out in the crowd in the 80s. Yeah, that's right. It could get you into all these sort of National Trust places as well for free or half price. So there's an educational value to it as well. All dreamt up by the late, great Biddy Baxter there, very proudly holding her Blue Peter badge. And here she is just a few years ago at one of the various celebrations that they've held for the longevity of Blue Peter itself. So, yeah, a much respected figure. I've got a quote here from Peter Purvis. Of course, we know him predominantly as Stephen Taylor because we're Doctor Who fans, but he was on Blue Peter for years. I think one of the longest standing presenters. And Peter offered this when it was announced that Biddy Baxter had passed away. He said, so sorry to hear this morning of the passing of my former editor and long-serving colleague, Biddy Baxter. In the world of television, she was a giant, a creator, innovator of Blue Peter, one of the best, and certainly one of the longest-running children's programs in the world. Rest in peace, Biddy. You will never be forgotten. So it's a nice tribute there from one TV legend to another. You don't meet anybody called Biddy now in the in 2025, do you? Wasn't her real name, but her real name was Joan. But I think she was wise to go with Biddy, Matt.
My
Biddy's more
mum's
memorable.
name's Betty.
There you go. That's near enough. Yes, that's the late, great Biddy Baxter. If you are a Blue Peter badge holder, we can't get you in anywhere for free here, but let us know there in the live chat. Reveal yourself. And if you're brave enough, let us know what you want it for. Blue Peter was always in the Grange Hill slot, says Domgo. Was it always? Are you sure? I know that they used to run it some times of the year when the Grange Hill repeat, because they used to repeat Grange Hill as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
They'd show each season, I think, twice. Yeah. You got it too, did you, Matt?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially in the 80s. The 80s was like my thing with Grange Hill. That was my soap.
Rob Alexander cautions that badges only work if you are still under 16. Bloody do-gooders.
There had to be a clause somewhere.
I was right here. Look, it's Stephen Braddock said it was called Blue Peter because the flag is called the Blue Peter with the little ship on it. There you go. There's also a steam engine called Blue Peter, says T Dwarf Productions. It probably is. And Peter Harrington reminds us that Tony Hart, the late, great artist Tony Hart. He designed the flag, the ship.
Oh,
did you
know
did you get Tony Hart's programs over there as well then, Matt?
Oh, I was a big fan of Morph. He's a little offsider, if you remember. He used to knock on the box, and Morph would come out.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, Tony Hart designed the little ship there that went everywhere. If they were going to remix the theme tune and make it more hip hop, they would have called it "Pimp My Blue Peter." That sounds absolutely filthy. Mucky pop. We're talking about children's TV here. Have you no sense of propriety? The Blue Peter badge, first introduced in 1963, says Stephen O'Neill. And Funky says, my sister's got Blue Peter badges from John Noakes, along with postcards of Shep the dog. There you go.
I still can't believe that one where they went up the ladders that were tied to the Nelson's column and walked up with no hold. Just went up there.
She got those presenters to do all sorts of stuff. Yes, some real sort of daredevil things. Fans of Vision On in the live chat, people showing their ages. Yes, so that's the late great Biddy Baxter, genuine TV innovator. To be honest, I mean, I think when I think about where children's television is now, I know that times have changed, but this was an integral show. I hope it survives. I can see why maybe it won't, but I do hope that Blue Peter does survive. Certainly weathering the storm a lot better than Doctor Who. Funky says, didn't Mike Oldfield do a remix of the Blue Peter theme tune? Funky, you're the funky one. You tell us, mate. I sincerely have absolutely no idea. So we're talking about names from TV past, associated sort of loosely with Doctor Who, names and faces that have always been there, names, faces, and voices. This guy, Ray Brooks, a famous face undoubtedly as one of Britain's longest serving TV and stage character actors. But it is strangely his voice that I'd say most people would know. Doctor Who fans will always remember him best as a scrappy, young, heroic figure who took on the Daleks on the big screen. But Ray Brooks was a jobbing actor, stage and screen, for literally decades. He passed away at the age of 86 the other day as well. Very sad to hear about this. I mean, I'd never met Ray Brooks, evidently, but just one of those actors who was, for a time, everywhere. And he seemed to be able to do anything. Predominantly, most people know him as the voice, of course, of Mr. Ben, the seminal children's animated series. I grew up watching Mr. Ben. I'm sure they still show this on CBeebies or Children's BBC, Luke.
Yeah, I think so. Wasn't it Mr. Ben references in the Christmas special just gone by as well?
It was in Joy to the World, I think.
Yeah, and obviously he played the movie version David, didn't he? Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Dalek Invasion of Earth, it's been around 50 AD. So yeah, it's a shot. But he had a death is sad no matter what. But all you can do is celebrate an actor's life, and he gives so much to screen and stage and theatre, and his voice as well is recognisable as well. And yeah, so just celebrate. Everyone just go watch Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150 AD. Just go watch it. Celebrate.
As David. So they split the TV character David Campbell sort of into two characters for the movie, didn't they? So Bernard Cribbins got to play sort of one half, and Ray Brooks got to play the other. But it was quite a big deal.
He ran away with Susan.
No,
not the movie version.
No, well, Susan was about 8 for a start.
Yeah.
So, and yes, it was a completely different sort of setup, really. But Ray Brooks joined the cast of Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD back in 1966, and here he is with the late great Peter Cushing. So they got paired up together. A roll neck sweater. I don't think there's anything more 1965 than a roll neck sweater, and his hair sort of still a bit rockabilly style when Britain was starting to swing with the Beatles and mop cuts. Ray was still trying to bring back the 50s, I feel there. But yeah, so when it comes to TV and movies, most people will associate him more with, firstly, the knack and how to get it. So this was his breakout role the year before the Dalek movie, this was. So it was all about society, the swinging 60s culture, and young people. Here he is with Michael Crawford doing his hair. And I've never actually seen this movie, but I've always wanted to. It's just I've never got round to it. And Ray, yeah, he's really given it the full 60s bit here. I think is that Charlotte Rampling, somebody like that.
Oh,
so
yes.
He got about a bit.
You're right.
He got about a bit, did Ray.
I've seen her in Avengers.
That's right. He played Reg Ward in the groundbreaking BBC drama Kathy Come Home, directed by Ken Loach. This is something that is still much celebrated 6 decades on. So this is a documentary-style drama, really pioneering piece of TV.
Some help too.
A young couple who are struggling with trying to raise a young family and the threat of homelessness, and lots of those pressing social issues at the time. Again, this was in 1966. So
they shouldn't let
plenty of important productions.
Well, they shouldn't let. I look at this. I think they shouldn't let little kids like that smoke.
It's a lollipop.
It's a lollipop.
Is it? Oh, okay. All right.
Could be a sweet cigarette.
Quite that bad back then.
The other littler kids got the cigarettes.
I like the kid on the right there. Look at that cardigan covered in chocolate and so other stuff. My word. Little bleeder. Yeah, so this is quite a loss really for TV history. Ray Brooks, 86 years, like you say, it's a long innings, Luke, but the list of credits is extraordinary. I knew him most as the star of Big Deal. This was a kind of a Minder style film comedy drama series on the BBC. He starred in it with Sharon Juice, who appeared in Ghostlight as Control, and he was a gambling addict. I think he was sort of trying to get clean, trying to clean up his act. I think he was addicted to gambling and drinking and all sorts of things, and she was his long-suffering girlfriend. And he had probably the most 80s haircut you could possibly imagine for a middle-aged man back there.
Wow.
But he turned up in drama and comedy and all manner of things. But yet, when I saw him in that first Dalek, in that second Dalek movie, the first time I saw it, because just like with Star Wars, just like with Superman, the very first Doctor Who movie I saw was the second one. So I knew him from somewhere when I saw that and heard the voice, because again, Mr. Ben was never off the TV when I was a kid.
He was in Carry On Abroad too.
Yeah,
I'd like to see which one he was in.
He was. Here he is snuggling up to June Whitfield.
That was him.
Which Doctor Who was she in? I can't. It was was it the End of Time or something like that?
No, I think she was in. Maybe it was.
Oh yes, was
Yes,
she one
with
of
Bernard
Wolf's
Cribbins.
friends?
Yeah,
Do you know when he had
yeah.
that whole group that he had of like his 60s buddies. I think she was in that bit.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
that's
he
right.
was the son. He played the son of Hattie Jacks in that movie Abroad. Yeah, I remember that.
Can't quite remember. So
He was the
Ray Brooks
bartender.
also starred in Danger Man, Dixon of Dock Green, Emergency Ward 10, The Avengers, Randall and Hopkirk, Z-Car. So all those big shows of the 60s and the 70s did a turn in all of them, the way that most actors did. No appearance in The Bill, though, that I could find. He did have a role in both Coronation Street and EastEnders. That's two pretty big boxes ticked as well. And he sort of returned to Doctor Who, if you count Big Finish. Here he is with Tom Baker and the late, great John Challis. Ray Brooks played Drax for Big Finish. I think he might have played that role a couple of times. And I think he's making some roll-ups there. It looks like.
Stole them off the kids.
Could be.
I did notice when you put up when you had the poster up for the Invasion Earth film, that he was third billed. He was in the top. I noticed that he was in the top line right after Cushing and Bernard Cribbins. So, I mean, he must have been really like hot even way back then.
Yeah, it was that film, The Knack and How to Get It, that had been it had a great cultural effect in Britain, because I think it was one of the first films that was really aimed at young people. I think Cliff Richard had made a couple of films. They were very sort of happy, clappy, all sweetness and light movies, whereas The Knack and How to Get It was about a young man trying to get laid. And I don't think that had really been done before. Ray Brooks, who appearance immortalized in 4K, says Funky, 4K releases are on the way any minute now, I think. Kathy Come Home is great, but a very sad watch, advises Sadako. And Dongo says those are sweet cigarettes that the kid was chomping down on.
Okay.
Candy cigarettes. So again, some actors have just always been around. And when you see a picture, I only have to see a picture of Mr. Ben and I can hear Ray Brooks' voice. It's that synonymous.
I've never seen an episode of Mr. Ben.
Oh, you'd like it. They only made about 12, but they just show them.
They were, like Dan said, they were never off air.
Wow.
Yeah, it's genuine TV gold. It says here that Ray Brooks also appeared in the Big Finish, Blake 7 and Torchwood releases too. But it's definitely as David in the second Dalek movie that he'll be best remembered by us Doctor Who fans. And there he is. There he is in later life. Bless him. So, there's people in the live chat clearly very fond of this veteran actor too. Yes, it was Carry On Abroad. He was the swarmy? Do you mean smarmy? Bartender. Stephen Braddock. It's a shame that Ray Brooks was never in the Doctor Who TV series, says Stephen O'Neill. He's too bloody busy by the looks of things, doing everything else.
Yeah.
When you're doing major roles and stuff on film.
Very much in demand. Funky says Ray Brooks, the boy with the knack. That's it. So they reference that in the trailer to the Dalek movie. You're quite right, as a deliberate callback, so to say. If you liked him in that, you're gonna love him in this. He's gonna give some Daleks what for. This time he's not chasing the birds, he's chasing the Daleks. Farsight has joined us in the live chat as well. So that's the late great Ray Brooks. He passed away peacefully with his family at his bedside after a period of illness there. But I'm sure you remember his voice, those roles in and outside of Doctor Who. So give us some more of your memories there in the comments. Ray Brooks was in the film Some People with Annika Wills and Angela Douglas in 1962. It says Crimpling the Balloon. I don't think I've ever seen or heard of that. Come to think of it. A veritable mine of information here, as always, in the live chat. Never let it be said that Type 40 Live has gone to the dogs. Not yet. But we are. This is. We've got to cut to the. We've got to cut to the break. No, though. So yes, as ever, we're going to put the 21st century on standby for a few minutes more. Wiggle that aerial there before Shep breaks it off and twiddle some dials, push some buttons to tune in to some gold from telly times past. Here's some more Doctor Who legends, timeless voices and faces selling us everything from Fairy Liquid to Ford Cortinas in the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Right now, there's an extraordinary power at work to add a new dimension to your life. So versatile, it can heat the smallest to the largest home. So affordable, all your heating and hot water comes at one new low price, day and night. So controllable, it comes to life at your command and even responds to the weather forecast. And it can be yours now with interest-free credit. Simply pre-phone Scottish Power today. It's made for people like you. And this is just the beginning.
Join the Cyberman army with the Doctor Who voice changer helmet with Cyberman phrases and frightening sound effects. Change your voice to cyberform with the built-in synthesizer. Resistance is illogical. Doctor Who Cyberman voice changer helmet and sonic screwdriver.
From character.
Peter, now you must be able to help.
After a cup of coffee.
You've got the message. It's that special blend and roast. that gives Nescafe that unmistakable, richer, smoother Nescafe taste.
There is only one Nescafe.
Unmistakable.
Even with your eyes closed.
Peter, that's marvelous.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Nescafe, unmistakably coffee at its best.
Welcome back for more Type 40 Live Rumble X YouTube and Facebook. Us here on the panel, you there in the comments, and lots more to talk about. You'll be pleased to learn. Haven't you suffered enough? Yes, something to shout and to scream about. Always here. Good stuff. Okay, so who have we got? And how are things playing out? Thank you, everybody. That was the Type 40 Live ad break. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We're back. And there's more too. Some more comments. They don't make them like that anymore. Said Garbage. How many takes did it take for them to get the perfect shaking of the beans?
That's rude.
Is it? I'm glad you've said that. Is it really just my dirty mind? Peter Harrington says, I have a voice changer helmet controller with the brain showing. I'm just a big kid. I've got that one as well. So was that the cyber controller that had his brain?
Yeah. Age of Steel, I think. Yeah. The two-parter when you could see the brain.
I can't remember.
Imagine how much character options would charge for that now. Like,
oh God, you would dread to think.
It's pretty cheap. Well, it's pretty cheap on the second-hand market, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, but if they brought that out now, it would be like collector's edition.
Take out a lot.
It's like,
Luke, you know it'd be one of those online exclusives.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%,
yeah. Nicholas Horton says, I've still got the Dalek Sec hybrid voice changer helmet, which is next door. I think it means next door to him. Not next door to them in the Nest Cafe ad that we watched there. Yeah, I've got several of them. I had to figure out which ones I've got, haven't I, Matt? I mean, you were sporting the Dalek one just a few weeks ago. Have you recovered yet? Has your cranium recovered?
Oh, I don't know. I think that thing's like got lurgy or something in it. That never have a second-hand Dalek head.
Oh.
I was sick for a couple of days after that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's so your people are going scrambling across to their bedrooms to get theirs. So it seems. Peter Davison certainly got his. He got his coffee beans. He got fed up with Gareth Hunt going round to his house in Richmond. He got so fed up that he moved. Suggests Princess Astra. You could be right. I think Gareth Hunt was probably a decent kind of bloke to go to the pub with, though.
What was the age of that that ad? Was that right when he was still doing Doctor Who, or was that done after? And it was either
just at the tail end of his Doctor Who work, or just after it. He did several of them, 4 or 5 of them, and in a couple of them there are sort of little references to him being Doctor Who. So I'm not really sure. To tell you the truth, I mean,
that could have been Doctor from the vet show that he did.
Oh, Sink or Swim.
Yeah, he was very, very famous for All Creatures Great and Small. Of course, Ian David Diaz, the Mega Geek himself, has been for a pint with Peter Davison, not Gareth Hunt, but maybe
I met him.
Ian's the kind of bloke who he comes out with these stories about the people that he's been for drinks with. I mean, he went out for a drink with Dudley Moore, notorious alcoholic Dudley Moore. He went for a drink with him.
I thought that was all for show.
Got back 3 weeks later.
But he was a very good actor.
So we're still in the 20th anniversary year of what they call New Who. I've always been a bit resistant to the idea of using the term New Who, but when the BBC start using it, I feel that perhaps I should as well. Everybody knows what you're talking about when you refer to New Who. Started in 2005, of course, running until this year, sort of on standby every now and again. Mostly under the stewardship of one man in particular. Some of the key figures in the last era of Doctor Who have put considerable distance between the series and them in the space of not that much time at all, I notice. I do wonder, is this deliberate? Is this just convenient? You know, I mean, not one for conspiracy theories, but sometimes, you know, silence, it does speak volumes, doesn't it? But it's now been over 2 months since season 2 wrapped up. And I think we're still sort of picking our way through the rubble to some degree. And we're better to do that than here on The Big Who. Lively discussion about the pressing matters of the week across the Whoniverse here in the TARDIS cloister room. And as ever, I'm joined by a round table of Type 40's time agents. Yeah. So we've got Charlotte Shields, as ever. Got Gary Akers too, Mr. Matt Potts, up with the larks, and Chief Hooligan himself, Luke Walters, all to get stuck into this. And yeah, I'm afraid to get stuck into him just a little. Okay, so Verda Satu, she's clearly very appreciative of being in Doctor Who, but I'm getting the impression that she's sort of over it. You know, she's off doing other things, promoting other shows. She's been in Star Wars and things like that. Ncuti Gatwa, he seems very happy, treading the boards. He's still smiling all the bloody time whilst he's dodging that question. You've got Billy Piper doing the best that she can, bless her, thinking on her feet at the conventions. Whilst the architect of this entire shit show, Russell T. Davies, usually we see him sort of posing for selfies at any drag night up and down Great Britain that'll have him, really. But not this week. He's been on stage himself, giving 2 interviews, quite bizarre interviews, in my opinion. One to The Big Issue and one to the Pilot TV podcast. Why now? I'm not entirely sure, but he has at least started speaking. At least somebody's saying something. So first of all, he spoke with The Big Issue. They promoted this largely to tie into the upcoming drama Tiptoe from Russell T. Davies, which is a return to the gay drama that made his name on Channel 4.
Sorry, did you say return?
Return, yep.
Yeah.
Never left.
So obviously it was telling those kinds of stories and making that kind of drama is how Russell T. Davies first became properly noted outside of children's TV and things like that. So now and again, he has returned to Channel 4 for these kind of productions. Most recently, of course, there was It's a Sin. So the bulk of the interview does concern the upcoming drama, which I think they're still making it, really. So when it's going to start screening, I'm not entirely sure. But Russell, so he talks about this. He claims that of Tiptoe, it's the strongest thing I've written. I do believe Queer as Folk, Cucumber, It's a Sin, and Tiptoe are the ones that will be on my gravestone. If you can bring back Doctor Who, be showrunner twice, and then it doesn't make your greatest hits, that's some going. Now, obviously, this is a print interview for The Big Issue. Maybe we shouldn't read too much tone into this comment, but as flat words on a screen, on a page, this seems like quite the turnaround for the twice showrunner of Doctor Who. So who wants to take this one first, Gary?
Well, I guess on one level, it's comforting to know that Russell's never going to be plagued by that annoying humility that so many of us try to cultivate.
See, my view, Gary, as somebody who's enjoyed most of his work, is that this is either incredibly disingenuous, or this man is now living in complete denial.
Oh, of course it is.
Possible.
I mean, he comments. I don't know if it was in this one or if it was the other one, where he says he only cares about the things that he owns, such as or was the principal on as on these shows.
We'll come to that.
But
later.
News to this one. Newsflash, Russell, it's the fans and the public that determine what your legacy is, not you. So you may want your only considered successes to be what's on your gravestone. But I think what a lot of people are going to want to find room for to etch in is the fact that you tanked a beloved franchise.
It's quite common to hear actors. Christopher Eccleston gave an interview quite recently, Luke, where they asked him about what's your favourite role you've ever played, and he mentioned something that he'd done on stage. I think it was some Shakespeare that he'd done. Really, really proud of it. He didn't mention Doctor Who, and as fans, that's fine. They don't have to be fans. They don't have to consider it to be the pinnacle of their achievements with actors. But I don't think Christopher Eccleston is labouring under any false pretenses that he won't chiefly be remembered for his 1 year as Doctor Who. And so if Chris Eccleston is more than aware of that, surely, Russell T Davies has a long list of great credits and lots of awards for that work. But I think this is a total misread of where he's at culturally.
Yeah, I think he's changed his tone quite drastically, quite quickly, because when Doctor Who first came back, not when he first came back, when he came back again and again and again, when he took it over and he did the documentary on BBC. I don't know what it went out on in England, but it was on BBC Wales. It was all about Russell, and he was like, "Oh, Doctor Who is my God-given right. It's my God-given right." And now he's like, "Well, I don't own Doctor Who. Like, it's never mine to begin with." And it's like, okay, you seem to have changed your tone quite suddenly for some particular reason. I think he knows it didn't work. I think we all probably wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for him bringing it back in 2004. And what he did between 2004 to 2010 was fantastic. All plaudits to him. But it's the old adage, isn't it? It's like, if a manager returns, I'm doing the sport reference now, not David for a change. But yeah, if a manager, you have a really successful first run, don't go back and do that second run, because it's never going to be as good as your first. And maybe it's just obviously it's missed the mark ever so slightly. And now obviously you can see that in hindsight, you shouldn't have done 2 years back to back without the fan feedback, so you can tweak and change things on the. Yeah, I think that he wrote himself into a corner, and I think he's finally now starting to see it. But yeah, he's been a lot more vocal with it recently. But the way he talks as well, it would be quite easy to take this as him being quite jovial in how he says it, because he does talk in a very wishy-washy, laughy, jovial sense. He's never like deadly serious by the way he says it. So I can imagine him saying the last bit about Doctor Who, saying it quite flippantly and being like, "Oh well, to be a showrunner twice, that doesn't mean it's great. He's like, "Oh, that's some going in it." Like, "Oh my God, look,
really?" That's the thing with Russell T Davies. You can tell he's got a huge ego, but he is quite warm for the most part and very witty. And unless he sort of sniffs that you might sort of have a different political viewpoint to him, and then I think he seems to turn really quite quickly. But generally speaking, this isn't a man who comes across as an ogre of any kind. He's always been proud of his work, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't be proud of these achievements, but this does seem like backtracking, a strange thing to say at any time, but the fact that he's saying it right now, when all eyes are the eyes that aren't on Billy Piper, basically, are on him, looking out for what he says, wherever he goes, and what they can get out of him. I mean, it doesn't even make your greatest hits. It's one thing to say it's not my proudest achievement, or it won't be the headline of the obituary in The Guardian. But to imagine that it wouldn't make your greatest hits is a massive, massive reach. He did go on to say, "I love Doctor Who, but I don't own it. It's not mine. So in the end, my heart will always be with the things I own." So, I mean, is this just a shit sandwich? So he puts the denial in the middle and sandwiches it with something that's a little bit more palatable. Yeah, I mean, you don't own it, Russell. But for a long time, you've kind of behaved like you do.
Yeah, that's what's this whole interview he gave. There were so many comments when I read through it that I was like, "Russell, do you have any idea how you're coming across?" Because it's like he's probably now getting to that age. We've spoken about this. He's now in his 60s, isn't he, Russell? That he probably is getting a bit more reflective about his career and what he's made, and sort of thinking back. That's what a lot of these big producers do near sort of the end point-ish of their career. But you don't directly compare your work and then sort of say, well, this is my strongest material and this isn't even going to make my greatest hits. It's the comparison which I find really odd here, because, like you said, even if you try and take tone into account, surely you'd want to sort of big up everything you've done. Surely you'd want to sort of sing the credit of all your writing, not put one group on a pedestal and then sort of put Doctor Who down near the bottom. That's what it comes across as. But it's not mine comment. Russell, so in your head now you're telling us, I don't own it, my heart's not fully in it, with that second quote. But it was okay for you to take Davros and completely change that character. And not just change the character, make a whole song and dance about how the previous version you couldn't do anymore and it wasn't right. And then also in Sutek, you could, it's all right, it's not yours, but you can change Sutek fundamentally. And in that same episode, basically have a pop about cultural appropriation, which that never was with Sutek's design. It was in the episode explained very clearly why he was Egyptian looking. It was in there. Anybody who's watched that episode can tell you. So I'm sorry.
He's damaged. I think that what you're pointing to, Charlotte, is, and it ties into what Luke's just been saying.
Yeah.
He's damaged the show's intellectual properties and icons. I think some of that must be sinking in by now. But more to the point, he has damaged his own legacy, for want of a better word, to return to the show and F it up so royally. I can't imagine that Russell T Davies would have given this quote a year ago, or say 5 years ago, before he went back to Doctor Who. I don't think he would have ever have said anything like that. I don't think he'd have said this at Christmas just gone.
No, because like Luke sort of alluded to, and we all have in the past, he's always Mr. Positive, usually Russell. He's always loving everything, and it's brilliant, darling, and it's the best, and every actor's the star that you're gonna love. Like, that's how Russell promotes. He always has. And like you said, for him to sort of have this, I think, quite negative tone in bits of this interview, I think what's happened here, I honestly think it's taken a while for him to realise, like you said, the damage he has done by this second sort of coming back to the show. And this is him putting distance, sort of saying, well, it's
Charlotte,
not mine.
Charlotte,
and I never owned it.
Do you think he's soured it for himself? Is that what you're...
Yes, I think it's he loved it when he was the king. He loved it when he was getting the praise and the awards, and you brought back Doctor Who, you've rescued it, Russell, all of that acclaim he got in 2005. And now he's getting derided, not just by the fans. I noticed this, the critics, the online sort of newspapers really sort of tore apart some of those episodes that we've just had. Did. So I think he's no longer Mr. Popular. So now he's sulking and he's putting the distance and he's sort of putting up all these excuses and, like Luke said, changing his tone very clearly.
Of all of these comments, this one to me is the most insufferable to me, and it's the one that triggers. It's the one that triggers me because, as Charlotte just said, he's the one. How many times did he crow about nobody tells me no? And with the Davros thing, well, this is who we are now in 2020, whatever. We don't need the, the Daleks being the, whatever. And so, of course, he thought he owned the show. I mean, he must think we have memories of a goldfish to think that we're not going to remember all the times that he said, oh, nobody tells me no, and it's,
I used to hang on every word that Russell gave promoting this show, Gary, because whilst I wouldn't describe him, he's not a Biddy Baxter type. I don't think he was necessarily a visionary, but he was very clever with the source material, very sensitive with it, and had that superb ear, certainly for the British public and for voices. He was so attuned, and lately he's come across as a prick for once. He has.
I mean, look. he thought he owned the show. That's clear. Nobody is going to think, well, no, he was welcoming of other ideas and rewrites and all this. He thought he owned the show. He reveled in the fact that he was free to do whatever he wanted. And, you know, now, as Charlotte said, he's clearly, in my mind, trying to distance himself from his own train wreck. If he's so proud of what he's done to the show in the last couple of years, why is he trying to say, oh, can we just forget about Doctor Who and talk about all these other things? You know, instead, all of this is just damage control for his own career. You know, good luck with that.
I get the impression, I've tried to be sympathetic because I get the impression that the guy's having a hard time. And I don't like to see people having a hard time.
I feel bad for him.
but you can see him on the premiere night. He was visibly quite shaken later that night, to the point where it was slightly uncomfortable to see him like that. And in all fairness, you know, I don't want to see anybody distressed. But when they give interviews like this, a couple of months later, Matt, I think, you know, the milk of human kindness does begin to sort of dry up. It can't be pleasant for him being put on the spot and kind of asked these questions. But then again, it comes with the territory. He's paid very, very well. Doctor Who is a show of enormous significance. So, of course, people are going to allude to the elephant in the room. This is also from the big issue. And the elephant in the room, Doctor Who and its uncertain future. So they acknowledge there at the big issue, that it's uncertain, the inevitable question, what's occurring. And Davies, it says he laughs and offers the one word to behave. So BTFO. He's just not having any of it. He probably expected that question. And they probably knew exactly what he was going to say. But the question is not going to stop, is it? Despite his fielding.
It may not be on your gravestone, but it's going to follow you to your grave.
Yep, absolutely.
Sadly, I think that's how it is. I mean, you can't put this turd with a face on screen and expect us to forget that happened. Just the same as the Davros thing, which it may have been just a children in need skit, but you know, Doctor Who fans, had you not figured out, Russell, we've got long memories. You have too. So this stuff, it's not going to fly, is it? And sadly, it has soured 20 years worth of memories in that triumphant production from 2004, screened in 2005. How can it not? I'm finding this all fascinating to see information. Is it information? Drip out. Russell T Davies, as I describe him, as Doctor Who's greatest historical ringmaster, and overseas, I get the impression that in other countries, Gary, he is predominantly, only really known for Doctor Who.
Yes,
that's true. Is it?
All those other shows that he named, like Cucumber and all this kind of stuff, they don't. I mean, yeah, you may be able to find them streaming somewhere, or you get them on the iPlayer, but there's no conversation about those shows over here, or you know, getting a lot of repeats or traffic, as far as I can tell. Please correct me, you know, any other Americans in the chat. I can't remember anywhere where, you know, those shows got a lot of traction. If he thinks that that those niche shows, which they are, I mean, they're designed to appeal to a certain you know, area of interest and a certain audience. If he thinks that those shows are going to dwarf Doctor Who in the public consciousness, he's nuts. I mean, you know, and it's got to be eating him up that for these last for the Shooty era, it's got to be eating him up that the public totally rejected, you know, his messaging, his trying to turn the show, you know, into a way to push his, you know, agenda, you know, to young viewers. He's probably really embarrassed that his Billy Piper marketing stunt backfired so spectacularly, you know. And like I said, now it's just he's trying to save himself.
He's realized he's not so clever anymore. He thinks he's clever, and that's the problem. He's never really been clever, and you know, there were all these other people propping him up, especially with Doctor Who, and now we've seen the curtain lifted. Really.
See, I don't.
Luke?
You can read it another way entirely, which I kind of get it coming from that background. When actors and myself, I worked on stuff and established IP and stuff, and I've made other stuff which is my own original ideas, and people, all they want to do is talk to you about this one thing, and you're like, cool, yeah, that's really cool, but look at this other stuff that means a lot more to me because these are my original ideas. Doctor Who will always be someone else's. It will always be someone else's. It'll always be the fans. It'll always be there. It'll be there and gone. But his stories and his stuff, his real work and what he's passionate about is cucumber and years, and it's a sin, and that's him. That's his work. Doctor Who will be there long before him and after him. So I kind of get what he's saying. That he's not just
it's
about
not
Doctor
that
Who.
It's not that it's not true. It's just the way that it's phrased, the way that it's arranged.
It's not what he's been saying previously, is what we're saying. He has been saying he is the end-all, be-all, end-all of Doctor Who.
He did say that.
Now it's all bit him on his big fat ass, and now he's like trying to sit down, you know?
Well, no, here's the thing. When he's talking about the creative side of it and him creating things, I'm with Luke there. That makes 100% sense to me. Because if you come on to something and it's had people before you and they've established it before you, then it's not going to have that same sort of personal touch that if you by yourself create characters, you write a series, you sort of, it's like Russell has spoken about when he was trying to do like Queer and those shows, and you had to really fight to get those shows on the air.
Yeah.
So that side of it, I completely understand. But the problem is, you can't then... The problem is, I get the creative side of it, but he's had such an ego about him. He's been so dismissive of the fans at times recently. And he's had the thought of, I can make things better. That's the vibe he's been putting across. Like, he's improving what's gone before. That's how he's almost been presenting
this
some
air
of
of
these choices.
superiority. This air of
Exactly.
superiority is what's become unedifying.
If he didn't have all of that, I think these quotes would have been received very differently. If he would have had different sort of ways with the fans and how this run has gone, I think he would have had a lot more sympathy. But it's hard to have that at times when we've had such, like I said, this sort of telling fans who, with the Davros stuff, for example, some of that stuff probably was probably quite full on when he got fan feedback, and it probably was at times a little bit angry and quite sort of rah, sort of pure. But I saw people do very civilized, very reasoned, like responses to him online, and he was very dismissive of them.
You know what, Charlotte? Even all that creative stuff aside, all the things that he's changed, all the things that he's experimented with, tore up, reinvented, and loused up, I can even forgive a great deal of that. It's how he spent much of the last 2 years telling a large percentage of us that we're a bunch of wankers. That's how it's come across. And so
it's not for you anymore.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to read this reasonably, and I think there is a lot of truth in what he's saying. Of course there is. It's just why now? Why this big change of tune? Why now? He followed that big issue piece up with a return to the Pilot TV podcast. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when he was last on there for a quick bite. It's quite entertaining. That wasn't quite candid. He's got a strong connection with this podcast. He's been on it multiple occasions. And this one was to mark their 350th episode. It's part of the Bauer Media's Empire group. So this, don't be under any misunderstandings about this. This is mainstream media. This isn't like a podcast. This is a big media group that own this. So it's from the makers of Empire magazine, and it describes itself as your essential guide to every TV show that matters, providing a weekly rundown of all new must-see TV shows dropping across streaming, terrestrial, satellite, cable, and beyond. So there's quite a budget. There's quite a budget to this. They marked their 350th episode, which turned out to be the 349th, whatever, with this live show at King's Place in London. And so the three hosts were joined by Russell T Davies for a while there to chat through some of the issues of the day, various picks of other shows, and of course they drilled him with a small d about Doctor Who and science fiction, and they took questions from the audience as well. It was a long podcast, like 2.5 hours, very entertaining as well, really well made, this show. I've heard it several times over the years, but they do a lot of spoilers. And you know me, Gary, I sort of watch things at a snail's pace. So I'd be constantly turning the volume down every 10 minutes because they're spoiling something that I might want to watch at a later date. So has anybody heard this? Anybody listened to the Pilot TV podcast?
No. I mean, I know of Empire Magazine, obviously, but I've never listened to. Do they have special guests on every show?
They do. Yeah, they've got a good relationship with a lot of movie stars, producers, writers, those directors, those kind of people, Matt. You'll find people like James Mangold and what's his name? David Jones.
I've noticed lately he has been doing a lot of podcasts. I watched that insufferable one where he did with the Little Britain blokes, and oh my God, if there was an ass kissing round table, that would be like top of the hits.
Well, it makes sense that he goes to the safe audiences.
Let's hold hands. Yeah. Let's hold hands. It's like, seriously? Just gross.
The one thing about this, and I would have loved to have been in the audience and ask a question. Boy, would I have loved that. Is, but I mean, nothing that he's. I tell me if I'm wrong. No, I can't remember offhand anything that he's said in the last couple of years that would lead me to believe that he considers himself just a temporary caretaker of the franchise. That when it comes time for him to go, whenever that is, that he'll be able, to put all his toys back in the box and hand it off, to the next person, and everything will be fine.
Change.
Nothing
change, Gary. He's gone from talking about long-term commitments to actually speaking in a quite short-term way, and about batons being handed over and things like that.
Well,
quite unsurprisingly, the Pilot TV hosts, they asked him about Doctor Who, and they asked him if they, what's the news? Same question as the big issue. What's happening? And he says, I didn't come on this podcast to announce any news. Now, he does say that you can hear this with your own ears. It's not like the big issue one. You can actually hear him. He's laughing and joking with them while he's doing this, because you can see he's been on there lots of times. There's a good banter, a good relationship there. I didn't come on this podcast to announce any news. There's nothing to report. Nothing's happening. You'll know when we know. I don't know. So it really was that sort of off the cuff, made that little sense. And so you can hear he's very relaxed. It's very informal. It's very laughy and jokey. But there's a lot of people who are invested in this show, and you can tell. I'm not quite sure, because I don't listen to this show. I don't know who are the Doctor Who fans on the panel, but there's almost certainly some there. But yet again, it's more sort of treading water.
See, the issue is we have this lingering stench of a spin-off. And until that spin-off is finally shown, whenever, quickly, hopefully, then I think everything will fall into place. But until then, we have to get rid of that. We have to use a bit of air freshener and just wait it out, really.
But Russell T Davies, I will say though that Russell T Davies not being involved in any talks about the future of the show is the best thing that can possibly happen.
I don't think there's anyone on this panel that can't agree with that, honestly.
So this is how things went on. She's not impressed. Neither was I. Conversations are between the BBC and Disney. Russell made pretty clear, I don't work for either of them. I work for Bad Wolf, so I'm not part of those rooms. So I literally don't know. And even people I work with every day, so they couldn't know what's really going on. I'm going, I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, is it
So-
Bad Wolf's not producing his latest thing that he's going around with this tiptoes shit, is it? He's not like they're not connected with this at all, are they?
No,
Dan?
that's for Channel
like,
4.
So
That's
it's
for
a
Channel
Channel 4 thing. So but like, I mean, what I mean is like, because the BBC, you know, he worked for Bad Wolf, and Bad Wolf were the ones that produced Doctor Who. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, he's just,
all of a sudden, Russell T Davies is painting himself out from the custodian, from the ringmaster, from the safe pair of hands, and the man he's promoted himself as having this big vision for Doctor Who, for the Whoniverse. He's gone from that to being an outsider. Now we're expected to just believe all of this.
He never ever came across as a custodian to me.
Exactly.
In this second
that's how
lot,
he positioned himself.
well,
That's how
yeah,
he
but when
framed
he
himself.
was when he was doing his interviews and that, it was like the be all end all, and that's it. He virtually controlled it rather than just looked after it. And unfortunately, you know.
But do you know what I find funny? Russell, it's almost like doing a massive stunt cast, which was just done to get some newspaper headlines, and because your main person did leave, like Billy has said, it was very last minute, but it's almost like doing something of that manner has now made people want to have answers, isn't it?
Do you think, Charlotte, that a consequence of fucking things up to such an extent, he may have been pushed out of those rooms that he's alluding to there, those conceptual rooms?
I think, yeah, it does feel like he's, like you
I hadn't thought
said,
of that.
it's this idea of, I don't work for either of them, which he's right. He works for Bad Wolf, and they produced a show for BBC and Disney, but he really does feel isolated here. But like I said, that's why you talked about the Billy thing, because now he has left the show with this massive question mark, and now people are going to go to him. People are going to want to know from him, is Billy our next Doctor? What's happening there? And it was this idea of just creating this big mystery box. You can't keep people on tender hooks for months and months and months. I said this when we did the show about the finale. I said the problem is the longer they leave this out there, the more people are going to get frustrated. And that's what I'm seeing a little bit now. People are just sort of going, well, we're not going to get an answer anytime soon. So when you do answer it, however that appears, people aren't going to care, because it's just this drawn out affair.
I think
that's true. So there's a shelf life on stuff like that.
Yeah,
on
that's
emotional
what I'm saying.
investment.
It's very much a shelf life, and I think he's experiencing now people sort of in real time saying, right, you don't have the answers, and you've created all of this.
There's a window. You know, you take a girl out on a couple of dates or something like that, and there's a window. If she doesn't call you back for a couple of days, you know, you think, you know, you get a call, figure out when you're next going to see one another. But it gets to a point where if she's not called or if there's been no text, where, you know, you're over it. Your emotional investment, it's sort of too late. The moment has passed, and I think that's how people feel about popular culture. When there's always, you know, a great deal of that podcast is talking about the momentum of the streaming model, and people are just going to move on to other things, Matt.
Yeah.
I don't want to get personal with him, but I really think he needs a boyfriend. And
let's not get
no. What I mean is that I think he'll be a lot happier because at the moment
he could be lonely.
Yeah, very much so. I
Married to
really
his
do.
work.
And I think that the circles that he's running in, like, he just needs to get into a relationship or something that is away from, you know, just, you know, when you get into your whole, when you're single, you get into a whole, you know, you get your group of friends and stuff like that.
He's in goblin mode. I think that he's described himself in the past as having a kind of workaholics mindset. I'm sure I've read that somewhere, Luke. And some people, it's the healthy balance, isn't it? So I wouldn't want to be so prescriptive as that. I don't know the man. But it doesn't seem very healthy.
There's a shift, isn't there? There is this shift. in the last 10, 15 years of him. And obviously there's been this thing taken away from him that, he hasn't been able to fulfill. And so in a way, he's maybe trying to fill that gap. And whether or not he's trying to, it's acceptance or something that he's trying to fill it with. He's just totally off the ball. He really
I have no doubt whatsoever that Russell T Davies has the best of intentions, but as I've said multiple times, he's become completely ideologically captured and is thus intellectually
because of the circle
compromised.
Of friends.
His talent has escaped him, and we are all, I hate to say it, we're suffering the consequences. And will his greater career suffer? I think it's probably too late in the day. There's been too many hits for that. He's very secure, but I think that it will, if writers, showrunners have a legacy, his has been damaged. I can't see, and this is on the way, Matt. You mentioned this, the war between the land and the sea. And he does talk about that at reasonable length, and even this could be hugely successful. But I don't think it's going to alter the lay of the land or the sea. Strangely enough. So we've got a couple of quotes from Russell T Davies on that here. Of course, this is coming, who knows when. Gugu Mbatha Raw is in there. So is Russell Tovey. We had some pictures and a trailer a few weeks ago that we picked our way through. And I think this looks like a quality show. But on recent experience, they made some great trailers for Doctor Who, didn't they? And look how that turned out. So on the war between the land and the sea, Russell says, I'm immensely proud of it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's like we had a good idea. Sometimes you finish a show and they're great, good. We did a really good job. But he thinks it's absolutely brilliant. So surely, Luke, this is bound to be brilliant. I mean, he couldn't possibly be exaggerating, could he?
No, to be fair, I have actually heard quite good things about the show from people back home. I've heard very, very positive and good things about it. So, and it's very much in a darker tone.
It to be great.
I've heard nothing but good things about this, and I think it's kind of, I think what Matt said as well. We're not going to hear anything until after this is out. And I think if this does well, I think it may give Russell a little bit more time. And I think it's kind of obvious. I know if this does well, then it's going to be Peter McTeague or Peter McTighe, whatever his name is, who's going to be groomed to be the next showrunner incumbent. I think that was the plan originally. So I think, who knows, this might come out and be
what I heard as well.
An Emmy award-winning show, and this is the new way Doctor Who should go, is the serialized format. And what a surprise! But
he went on to say sometimes they go through a post-production where everything comes in. You work on the effects, on the music, and the grading of it. Sometimes magic happens, and it's happening with this. It's even better, Gary, than we thought it was. I'm delighted with it. You must be relieved, Gary, that we know this is going to be good now.
Well, I'd scratched it off my calendar, and now I can add it back for whenever they do it. To Charlotte's point before, I think the longer they drag their heels on this, I think the more they risk it being completely irrelevant whenever they put it out, because too much time, too much distance from the main show will have gone on, that now this just seems like something that they had on air that they're tossing out there. I would have loved in that forum of that podcast to ask him and get it on record. Do you think that the show, now that you've left the show in better shape than it was when you came back 3 years ago? I would love to get his answer to that on record, just to see what he'd say.
Because here's the thing, right? He has to be the one to resolve that Billy thing now. It cannot be left for somebody else. If there's a somebody else on the horizon at some point, to have to explain that. That is not fair on any showrunner coming in. If we get a new showrunner in how many years' time. You created that mess, Russell. Yep. You fix it.
To be fair, Chibnall did the same with that horrible Joe Martin thing. So, it's there's this thing where they're going, oh, it needs to bring back the mystery, all this stuff. it's they don't think
Chibnall-
things through.
Difference is that Chibnall didn't leave that out of the box. Russell has.
No.
This is like a big jack in the box that's bobbling
No,
up
but I think
in front of our faces.
Okay. Well, I think in a way that was his grenade as well. It was like, let's just throw this in and see what happens. You know, whether or not it explodes with confetti or whether or not it explodes with a bomb. You know.
Yeah, but everybody was hoping that Russell could have easily fixed that, whether it's retconning, explaining it away, like, oh, the master lied or whatever. And everybody was hoping that the first thing that he would do is fix that colossal, you know, as you said, that colossal cannon grenade. And I think that a lot of people, me included, resented it when he not only didn't fix it, but he doubled down on it and said, oh, there's no way, you know, and endorsed it more. I think that he didn't do himself any favors by doing that.
Do you get the impression, you know, again, stepping back from the creative stuff, do you get the impression, or are your instincts telling you that he's hoping that the war between the land and the sea could take a bit of the heat off these questions that aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon? Because I can't see us getting an answer, a public answer. I'm convinced they already know. Myself, I think that he's lying. If you want my honest answer, I think it's all bullshit. Most of it's bullshit. I think he knows, and but I don't think we'll know anything about it until the new year. Do you think he's hoping that the war between the land and the sea could take some of the heat off? And he probably, I mean, obviously they hope people are gonna like it, regardless. People don't set out to make bad television. They hope that viewers enjoy it for the most part. But you see what I'm saying? If this is the new shiny thing, and look over there, don't look over here, look over there, it could help him out of a hole he sort of dug for himself in the short term.
Yeah, potentially. I'm sorry, I'd have to disagree with Gary and Charlotte ever so slightly. I think if you've got all this heat on Doctor Who now, you don't want to bring this out close to it as possible and have people let it come out in New Year when people have forgot about it. Run the trailers over autumn and winter, this dark, moody, like cop drama that people will pick up, because
it certainly feels like a winter show to me.
That casuals will see it and think, oh, it's like a line of duty type show or whatever, and then draw them in that way. And Doctor Who fans will know when it's coming because it's Doctor Who. So it might, I think, a bit of separation from the main show could actually be more of a favor than a hindrance to it, to be honest. But maybe.
To be fair, like I was saying, more to do with the main show stuff. Like that can't be left because because the thing is, and we sort of said this a couple of weeks ago, they're not marketing this as a Doctor Who show, this war between the land and the sea, at all. There's no sort of connective icon sort of stuff with a TARDIS or even just Doctor Who or Whoniverse. There's none of that labelling here. So I do think, Luke, I agree with you. I think they're trying to see this show catches like the general audience a bit more, or the casuals, or like you said, people that like that sort of late night drama sort of show, and maybe they can then get some more people back on the main brand. I think is probably the strategy here if this goes well. But just really quick, I was just going to say, I did look in the last couple of days at the digital versions of like the new Radio Times and the new versions of a couple of the other British TV guides, magazines that come out. And it seems like this week they're doing all their fall previews about what's coming out on all the channels and stuff. And this wasn't mentioned anywhere. I don't know if you can take anything from that, but maybe that does mean that it's not going to be part of the fall lineup, that, as Luke said, they're going to leave it to winter.
I think this is the one thing, Gary, he's being completely and utterly truthful about. They asked him about the war between the land and the sea and when we could expect to see it. And he said, if only I knew that. No one will decide that. No, that's very precise. No, not only is he claiming that he's ignorant, but he's also claiming, really, no one will decide that. Nobody seems to be taking responsibility for when this is going to be scheduled. No one will take the initiative and make that decision. So if only I knew that. No one will decide that. That's up in the air. I wish I knew. I genuinely wish I knew. So he almost sounds frustrated. His tone on the podcast itself doesn't necessarily change, but obviously those are very precise words. Words have meanings. No one will decide that. There's frustration there, I think.
I think he needs to. Well, the issue is that this is more a Disney show than a BBC show. So the ball is in Disney's court. At the moment, they have a brand new show that they're promoting at the moment called Alien, which is a spin-off to some franchise. Anyway, this is the big thing, and I don't think that they would want to disrupt that at the moment until that is done. I don't think there's any other projects that are really coming from Disney. So I think that there's going to be like a dead zone, and I honestly think they're going to drop it in the dead zone. Just to fill that spot. And then BBC will have to follow suit.
Charlotte?
It is odd, though, that, and I've said this all year, that, like, they're going to have to drop this show at some point. And there's been, like, no sort of drumming up of any sort of, to try and make this feel like an event, if that makes sense. Like, I understand if they don't.
They can't really bill it as an event until they know, because when you build something in as an event, the very first thing the punters ask, not fans, but the general public is, "Oh, that looks good. That looks good. When's it on?" We don't know. So that's why they haven't. I'm amazed they've aired a trailer. Amazed.
Yeah, so maybe that's the bigger issue then. It's not that they haven't built it as an event, because there's so much uncertainty clearly still around this when it's dropping. Because you'd think that a spin-off like this, your first proper spin-off of your new Whoniverse, of your new let's get all these shows going, that you'd get this stuff at least from the BBC's end, even if Russell's not aware, to some sort of, here's a rough, very sort of, it's going to be in this part of the year.
In quarters.
Yeah, like that idea. And it just, like you said, it feels like nobody wants to put their name to this right now, which is just odd.
But BBC did something similar a couple of years ago when they made War of the Worlds. I think that was shot in like 2017, early 2018.
Oh,
and
right.
Really? And that came out just at the end of 2019, 2020. And they showed the trailer for it like a year beforehand. And everyone was like, cool, let's bring this out now. And the BBC were like, yeah, we haven't got an air date yet. We don't know yet.
But now
and they just dropped it randomly.
If Disney's as Matt said, if Disney's driving the decision on the air date, I can see Disney dropping this all at once, and then the BBC just doing kind of like a Children of Earth thing, and then just running it like in 1 week just to get it out there, run it like 5 nights a week for a week at a dead time.
Yeah, it really doesn't feel like it's a well-oiled machine right now. I think that's the best way I could sum it up. It feels
it's not
like
even. It's not even in neutral. I get the impression it's completely stalled, and no one's turning the key anytime soon.
I was really honestly surprised there was not a mention of it in any of these fall previews in Radio Times or like the satellite TV or any of these other magazines that do.
The thing is, we know that it's going to be out within the next 12 months because of the whole it being presented at Comic-Con in that fashion that they did, the Black Archive. So we're looking at it in the next. Well, I mean, it's been nearly 12 months. I think they started filming in September, October last year. Dan,
yeah,
you
it was
might
around
be able to
about
tell
that.
me.
Yeah, it
so
was,
this is sitting on the shelf, literally sitting on the shelf at the moment. So, yeah.
And the thing is, and this is because I do need to go in a minute.
Yeah, I know.
If this show was so brilliant and so amazing, and Russell's telling us he's really proud, which he probably is, to be fair. Like, I'm not doubting he's proud of it. But if it was this good, why is it been sort of sat on a shelf then? Why are they in every opportunity not given a date for this? It doesn't make it feel like they're confident themselves.
Yeah,
that's sort of the
honestly
problem.
I get the impression this is a really complex production. All that effects work. I think that they're trying to make this look not necessarily better than Doctor Who, but to look very distinctive. I say I don't know, but I suspect that it's going to come out looking better than we've ever seen anything attached to this brand before. And being, obviously, I don't know whether it'll stand up story wise, but just from that trailer, it does look almost cinematic, almost like a film that Sam Mendes would make. So I think that all that special effects work, that Gugu Mbatha-Raw's characters wearing matte, all that's going to have to be finished, if not frame by frame, and very, very intensively. And then there's everything else. So I think that, in all fairness, it's not like even filming something as cheap and nasty as Joy to the World with a few splashy effects and a big set. Bang it out. You know, I get the impression this is very involved with an expanded cast, lots of location work. So I think that could be why.
I just, before Charlotte's got to go, but I just wanted to say that I think that the difference that you're noticing, Dan, is the fact that this spin-off seems to have more on-location stuff, more so than Doctor Who ever had in the recent two series. I know they did a little bit, but not much. And from what I've seen, you know, they have them inside big buildings and not sets. These are actually proper buildings and everything that they have them set in. And, you know, it just looks more cinematic because that's what they've done. It's more on location stuff. It looks more, you know, physical.
The War Between the Land and the Sea coming soon. Threat or promise, you decide. Russell T Davies finished his encounter on the Pilot TV podcast by dishing out some slices of cake there to celebrate their 350th episode. And I recommend you go and listen to this. There's a link to the Pilot TV podcast in the video description. It is worth your time. And to hear him speak in his own voice, in his own way, you'll hear for yourselves, and then get back to us in the comments and let us know what you think. Charlotte, as always, thank you for a roaring conversation and your input.
Yeah, it's lovely to talk with everybody, and thank you everybody in the chat who said goodnight to me for the last couple of minutes. So I will see you all next week.
There you go.
Bye,
Can't say much further than that. Good night, Charlotte. Let's go and check out what people have got to say over there in the live chat about everything that we've talked about regarding Russell's 2 recent interviews. Let's go and take the pulse with the people who really matter.
The universe is on the point of collapse. The Doctor and I have to save it, but you can help by watching time-rotor.
Okay, thank you everybody for your company and your patience. Let's see what they've got to say about all of this. We've got Chris from Black Glove Studio join us in the live chat. Lots more people too, including Vanessa Law and Sentai Ranger Donny. Lots more familiar names and faces and icons. Princess Astra says that Shooting Gatman got tired making 8 episodes last year. Well, they did make them in one sort of long trek, didn't they? It wasn't back to back, but it was near enough. Yeah, we're not talking about shooting this time. We're talking about Russell T Davies. Paul Richards suggests Russell should stick his social dramas. He's not that great with science fiction. I don't know. I think some of his sci-fi is great. I consider Russell to be more his strength is in fantasy in that respect. I think results are going to vary on that. I love most of his Doctor Who work. I sincerely do. But a great many people simply don't want to hear from this man anymore, or wish to have him away from the show at the very, very least, such as Farsight here watching on YouTube. Please don't come back, says Princess Astra. You know, the comments along similar veins. Ewan Erdley reminds us.
I think that's going to be very hard stink to get off your shoe. I really do.
Ewan Erdley reminds us of Dark Season, Russell T Davies' very first fantasy drama from children's BBC in the early 90s, starring a young Kate Winslet and Jacqueline Pearce from Blake 7. Fantastic stuff if you've not seen it. Domgo believes that the ship has sailed, according to Domgo. He'll only be remembered now for having destroyed Doctor Who. I don't know about that. I think that because the audience, Matt, has ebbed away so much in the last couple of years, there are a lot of people of that generation who have simply either deliberately or because of the patterns of their lives have kind of left Doctor Who behind. And so for them, the memories of the Eccleston, Tennant, and Smith and Capaldi, they'll remain sort of intact. and they'll still think, oh, Russell T Davies did it. I think some of that will remain with the dedicated fan base, with the people still paying attention, and with other people. I think that within the TV industry, they will have noticed that this has been a colossal F-up. We know this has been noticed. We've been told by people we know. Farsight says he knows he's killed Doctor Who and is in full damage limitation mode.
Yeah, I think for the general public, they won't know any difference. They won't know any difference. They don't care about Doctor Who.
Stephen Moffat is kind of right when he says that the general public think him and Russell T Davies are the same person. This is it's a very Stephen Moffat thing to say, but he's kind of right.
I think the fans, Doctor Who fans, will remember. They remember very, very well lots of things, and it's funny how the JNT era was very unpopular for a time, and then there was the Chibnall era, which was extremely unpopular, and then they overshadowed each other. So suddenly, the Russell T Davies is now the worst era. So there's people are going to be picking and choosing at the moment for their good eras, and it's only going to be the fans. But we will remember Russell T Davies for damaging the show as a fan, a long time fan. Damaging the longevity of it. I mean,
it's the fool me once, fool me twice thing. I can forgive him. In all fairness, I can forgive him the Sutex stuff, but I can't forgive Omega. That is the same thing.
Well,
2 years running.
I can't forgive him for shooting Atwa.
Make the same mistake 2 years running, and that's not going to sit well with me. Paul Richards says Russell said he was burnt out and wouldn't come back to Doctor Who. I think he should have stayed clear. That was a long time ago, but yeah,
it was an opportunity though, and I think probably he had a gap in his work schedule as well. And I think like I said, I think that there was for him there were new stories to be told through his experiences. Let's just say
We've got a comment here from David Mullen. I want to concentrate on the comments because people have been quite patient so far. Yeah. So we've got David Mullen in the live chat who says, I think he knows a juggernaut like Doctor Who dwarfs everything he's done on Channel 4, and he knows it full well he's screwed up, and that's what's bothering him. What do you think about that, Gary?
Well, I fully agree with the first sentence. That assumes that Russell has the capacity within him, and this is not an insult. I'm just being entirely honest, that he has the capacity in him for that kind of self-awareness to be able to take that in and realize that it wasn't the fault of the fans who couldn't appreciate what he was doing, but that it was the quality of what he was presenting him. If he has that capacity, then
a bit of humility, a bit of self-reflection, really. Nobody's too old for that, are they? Despite the success, despite the 6 decades alive, we never stop learning, and anybody can get stuck in a rut. Anybody can make a mistake. It's just making the same mistakes several times and then blaming everybody else. That's when my patience starts to wear a little bit thin. Princess Astra is not a fan of anything after 2015. R.I.P. Doctor Who. Just adjust your date. Just a date wherever. 20 years of new Who torture suggests new Who hater on brand as ever. There, you really do get what you pay for with new Who hater in the live chat. We've got a comment here from Jen Mack, a new name here on YouTube, Matt. I truly didn't understand the virtual aim towards Russell T Davies. Surely anger should be aimed towards the people who haven't recommissioned already. So what Jen is suggesting is that the blame, the angst, the anger, the frustration being directed at this man is at fault, and that the real blame lies with BBC Studios, Disney Plus, all those people in those rooms that Russell isn't permitted into anymore. I mean, obviously, Jen, thank you for joining us, and thanks for the comment. I personally believe that that's the statements that we've gone through from Russell in those interviews, that's what he wants you to think. That's what he wants to portray the situation as being, that it's on them, it's not me, it's not me, it's not look everywhere else but me. And yet that's a stark contrast to how he's been over the last, since he came back to the role, since David Tennant was revealed, and since the original press release. So with respect, Jen, I do see what you're saying, but it's when you look at the context, that's why we're reaching the conclusions that we are and reading this room the way we are. We're not. So thank you again. Zero Room suggests he's too egotistical to have listened to the fans' criticisms and tweaked the show. Well, there wasn't. They'd banked up 2 series worth, so that's a kind of it's a moot point. Who knows where we'll be if there's a 3rd season with Russell in the showrunner's chair and lead writer's chair? Then I think we'll know pretty quick, won't we, Luke? Whether he has learnt from mistakes, listened to the fan base or not, listened to the general public or not, and clocked those metrics. Because despite the fact that ratings aren't everything, it's very clear that they're only going in one direction. Something needs to be done.
Yeah, and we could end up in a situation where it's like Wednesday, for example, now, which everyone has been complaining about, and it is the age of streaming. Everyone's like, I can't believe we have to wait 3 years for 8 episodes, and it is amazing quality TV, but you are waiting 8 years for 3 episodes, and it could go this route now, or the way that they banked 2 seasons together. If they just would have did that first season and then got recommissioned, how long before Shooty could have gone off and done a film, someone could have done this, and it could have been like another 3 years before we had the series between it, and it might end up going this way now with this season, so who knows.
Funky says that quality scripts would have, we're back to Jackie and her OnlyFans, aren't we? Quality scripts would have guaranteed recommission, in my humble opinion. I think in some circumstances they do, but I don't think in all. I don't think this is one of them necessarily either. I think it's a bigger question than that. I think that they would always have reached this point, and that Disney Plus had certain yardsticks and asks of the show, and their view of what is quality material, and certainly what's mine, is drastically different on the strength of other output. We've got Cam in the live chat and lots more other people as well. Let's have some comments from people we haven't heard from yet. Problem Beings here in the live chat, the creator of the best theme tune in the whole of Doctor Who podcasting, Problem Being, says humility simply isn't in Russell T Davies' lexicon.
I don't know. Like I've said, I think he's sort of lost that, and like Problem Being said, it's like, it's humility, and I think that he has lost that ability to do that. So yeah,
his choice of co-writers was moronic, suggests Dalek.
Well, they were all brand new, spanking, not even television veterans at all. None of them.
See, a lot of these problems, when we step back from it, and we've been covering this extensively, with 3 live stream shows covering the majority of that last season. So these are rocks that we've looked under several times. These are questions that we've asked and conclusions that we've reached. So our answers to a lot of those queries and questions haven't necessarily changed. But I do feel that we've all been largely vindicated, Gary, by our leanings, our readings of the situation on a week-to-week basis, because it's intense for us, and we're only commentating on it. I would imagine it's very intense for the people who make it. But even so, hate the game, not the player, I suppose.
Well, but I mean, if people, all we can do is take people at their word. If Russell comes off, with a certain tone and the way that he likes running the show, being the kind of autocrat that nobody tells no to, we have to take him at his word. Which is why now when he does a 180 and is all, it's not me, it's everybody else, it's like, well, that's not what you've, been saying. I do want to say really quickly that one of the comments before about that Russell shouldn't have come back, he should have just left his legacy untarnished. It must have been incredibly intoxicating to be presented the possibility of coming back as the one who saved Doctor Who from the brink, And I mean, a prospect like that would have only added to his legend. You know, that would have been very, very hard to say no to.
And the establishment of a project as ambitious as the Whoniverse, and I think that this was quite ambitious in getting all of the classic show up on iPlayer. You know, that's something that Russell T Davies did. He insisted, he was dogged in his pursuit of the rights to all of the classic material. And that was put together really very well when that was all launched. And yet it's all lost its shape, its integrity really, really quickly. And I noticed that the Whoniverse stinger got shorter and shorter. And just as Charlotte said, the Whoniverse brand is nowhere near the upcoming spin-off show. It's not a good sign.
The thing is, it lost its shine a very long time ago, and no matter how much polishing Russell can do, it's actually going to make it worse. Or anyone at this time. It's just one of those things where, like I said, we've got this spin-off to really just to get thrown out there, and I'm not looking forward to it. I don't know about you guys, but I just want a break from New Who.
My feeling remains the same as when we last talked about it. So without going over old ground, in that if I was to see that trailer that we watched a few weeks ago for The War Between the Land and the Sea, or a brand new sci-fi fantasy drama series post Watershed, and people showed me that trailer and I didn't know it was anything connected to Doctor Who, I would go for that. That's exactly the kind of stuff that I would watch. So I'm certainly not going to not watch it because it is connected to my favorite ever TV show. If you follow me, it's exactly the kind of stuff that I usually gravitate towards. So whilst I can't be excited for something when I don't know when it's on, Luke. I won't permit myself to be, because I've got lots of other stuff that's on. You know, I've just started the new Alien show. There's lots of other things that have been out this year. Mobland, still haven't watched that. So I'm not going to get excited about something that we haven't even got a date on yet. But I think that we'll be able to read the situation as the weeks and months go on. I think you're right. I'd be surprised if this airs the other side of Christmas, but we'll know in due course.
Yeah, hopefully. From the rumblings that I've said to you, is potentially could be this will come out in January-ish time, New Year's. Then we'll get a Christmas special in 26. Then we might get something in 2027. That's still the one thing I'm hearing that's persistent. And I'm like, oh,
waiting.
Okay.
We're all waiting. We're ready.
Oh.
Maybe they'll just edit it down and make it the hour-long Christmas special.
That's what I was thinking of.
Oh,
I mean, but I doubt they're going to give us an hour. I doubt very much they'd want to make us linger another five hours.
You could be right. I mean, I don't like to rub it in, but I think what sticks in people's memory, I mean, there's some great quotes in those interviews with Pilot TV and The Big Issue that we've talked about during our discussion this time. But we have got long memories, Matt. You're quite right. And even though he has expressed regret about this, I'm going to keep reminding Russell T Davies that he said this, that it takes a while to get the empire in shape. Your words, Russell, empire, but that's a serious plan. Annual Doctor Who, no gap years, lots of content on and on. Okay, that's fewer episodes than the last full season, but give us time. We have plans, and that's a promise.
Called hindsight.
Yeah, wherever you lay that one, it's gonna stink. Let us know what you think of all of this there in the comments. Get the Pilot TV podcast from the link in the description. The Big Issue interview is up there online for you to read in full, and give it some thought about how the last few months is sitting with you there. Have we been a little harsh in our take on Russell T Davies and the position that he's in the way that Jen there, who's watching us, joined us on YouTube, says? The overwhelming majority of people, though, have really had it with this guy and don't want to listen to any more. And I have to say that for the most part, I'm very much there. But I am looking to the future, just looking sort of elsewhere, really.
This is Philip Roy playing the Doctor.
And I'm Mandy Rose and I play Jenny.
For the Doctor Who fan film, Doctor Who meets the Scorpion. This is the Type 40 podcast.
And we're off. After that, we are off, everybody. Okay. What a discussion. What a great round of debate we've had there on those two latest interviews with Russell T. Davies. If you've got more to say, come and say hello. As always, through our social medias, that's Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who, or you can join us in the Type 40 Facebook group as well. We're debating all of this and all of that. You can get stuck in with all of it. Roll your sleeves up there and show us your finishing moves and start your own discussion. Show some fan art. Fill some time between now and whenever the next season of Doctor Who. It's going to be a long time by the look of things between the next series of Doctor Who or until the war between the land and the sea is on. At least you can send us any form of feedback you like to verbally, all through the wonders of SpeakPipe. So questions, predictions, general observations, speculation, theories, entire formats for how you'd save Doctor Who if you can fit it into about 60 seconds there as an audio clip over at SpeakPipe. The link is in the description to that as well. We've covered a lot of ground on this edition of the show, the past, the present, and the future of Doctor Who. We're covering more than the BBC are. I think we're definitely pretty much holding up our end, I'd say, Gary. I'm very, very proud.
It's hard to believe that a show that's in kind of like limbo right now, that we can still manage to create hours of gripping content like we just did.
Choose your words carefully, my friend. Thank you, Gary. It wouldn't have been the same without you. Some great comments. People are just joining in the live chat here on YouTube and Rumble and Facebook and X. Go back and hit play. Go back and do some time traveling. And you can stream us in real time, and you can shout at your device there about all the nonsense that we've been speaking. Russell, if you're watching, leave us a comment, Russell, and it'll all be absolutely fine.
Come on the show, Russell. We'll have a chat.
Yeah, why not? Bring him on. Yeah.
Do you like your podcasts?
He went on the Little Britain one, didn't he?
Yeah, we'll hold hands.
We'll be nice.
Excellent stuff. Luke, thank you again for joining us. It was rather short notice,
emotional,
wasn't it? But you ran in, didn't you, from your corner of the ring and delivered a conversational suplex to the
yes, and Varada Seth is not the only one with the Doctor Who crochet. I got my little David Tennant here that my missus made.
Oh, this is the work of your other half, was it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there you go. She made me
awesome.
Yeah, Yorkshire knitter she is. So she made me the 24-foot long Tom Baker scarf as well. She overshot it by 6 foot. But yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. And by the way, did you know Philip Roy was in the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who? But he doesn't like to tell anyone. Just throwing that out there, just to get him
in case it embarrasses him.
Yeah, never mentions it. But no, cheers for made it there with 3 minutes to spare. So yeah, cheers for having me. The joys of a new job, eh?
Is it going well? You're smiling?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. It's very, very different. It's very, very different. So, but yeah, it's a lot of learning, and it's a lot of new processes, and it's a lot of alcohol. So it's art, actually.
Sounds a lot like doing this show.
Yeah, it is. It's just drink. It's just a lot of drinking and darts. I was like, this is the weirdest job ever, but I'm having a great time. So
I can't imagine this show if everybody was drinking. I literally can't even picture what that would be like.
Do you remember when Shah got absolutely hammered on? You can find that one. Yeah, another one of Shah's.
Yeah, there you go.
There was the one where she stripped off, and the one where she got completely pissed. So you can find both of those shows if you dare by hitting up our playlists here on YouTube and Rumble. Earlier editions of this show, as well as our regular rolling news coverage, news, views, debate, discussions, banter, stupid jokes, nostalgia. It's all here in the playlists, so you can get all of that, as well as our special editions devoted to showcases for the latest Blu-ray releases, for example, or our deep dive tributes to Doctor Who legends from behind the camera or in front of the camera. We don't discriminate here at Type 40 Live. So get stuck in for all of that. Thirsty work, Matt. Obviously, it's our real life time traveler. You can give us the inside word on Friday. How is it looking so far from your part of the world?
At the moment, it looks like I've got a severe weather warning, so I might have to batten down the hatches.
Uh-oh.
Got them here for heat. They told us, the government put out a statement saying that we'd all got to sleep downstairs for the last 3 nights to delete all unwanted images from your devices, so that because they were using too much water to cool data centers. Can you believe that?
What?
Did they? Did they?
They've actually said that. It has been.
I know
hot,
that
but
they
it's
were
not that
arresting wolf whistlers, but I didn't know that they were doing anything else like that. That's crazy.
There's that
I
too.
thought
You
we
never
had
know.
it bad here.
Yeah, someone calls it batshit bonkers Britain, and I really am starting to agree with that.
I know over
news.
here, Facebook like crashed or glitched for about like 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, that would be devastating for them.
That's not so.
It's the end of days, everybody.
I have got some great news. According to Funky, The Fall Guy is back on UK TV. So let me know, because that's one of my favourite TV shows of all time. I've been waiting for it to come out on physical media. No joy, especially not in HD. So if you let me know, Funky, where that's streaming, I'd love to find out if they've got a streaming portal. I can just head over there and mainline episodes of that classically major show from the early to mid 80s. I'm drinking, says Lord Thoth. I am drinking. Get it down, yeah. Get it down, yeah. Okay, that covers it for this time, I think. Thank you, gentlemen, for your company. As always, to Charlotte Shields, too, for more pearls of wisdom. I've been Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks. We're back with more very soon, as always. This is Type 40 Live, Mondays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. here on YouTube and Rumble, Facebook and X, with more of the hottest of takes. Okay, so have a great weekend. Leave us some comments, some rants and raves on all the topics that we've covered this time, including your own tributes to Biddy Baxter and Ray Brooks, who both sadly left us this week. But yeah, that's about it. Get back to the heat, put the fan on, and hope for the best. If I can find the Fall Guy, what could ever go wrong? Please like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Check you're still subscribed, because if you don't know what YouTube are like by now, I don't know what to say to you. And hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications, because we will be back next time. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.